There's nothing new under the sun. Respect. There's plenty to go around.
And Lucky. Coke and Cleo, Breaking the Curse is a timely, thoughtful, humorous, but yet truthful story of life as it is very often in the African American homes and communities. It's a great story about relationships with God and others. It depicts the value of God and religion in the lives of African Americans. It speaks to the strength of black women, their roles in the home and church, community involvement, and interaction care for each other. It speaks also about the streets, drugs, addicts, sex, and rape. It paints a very vivid picture of the life and struggle in many black communities. The writer Glenn Charleston Sampson III is right on point. This book reveals much truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The humor in this great story of Coke and Cleo helps to numb the pain and lighten the heavy loads that life delivers. Glenn employs some of his own life experiences in this story. It contains failures and victories that will make you laugh and cry simultaneously. Glenn tells a great story that all need to read. It provides a unique glimpse into some of the most fundamental values of African American culture. Thank you, Marilyn. Introduction. Ever since the day Satan was thrown out of heaven and is exposed as God's enemy, he has been a miserable spirit filled with hatred and revenge. He knows he is doomed. At one time, we were in the same predicament until Jesus took upon himself the sins of the world to undo that which Adam and Eve had done, eating the forbidden fruit. And this is what separated God from man, sin. Jesus was and is the perfect example. He wanted us to see that it is possible to live free in a world of sin. Yes, when you make a total commitment to God, the living free life is possible. He never said it would be easy. He did say, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light." Visualize this: Jesus leaving his mighty throne, pulling off his crown and laying down his robe of majesty. He left his mighty throne in glory with a mission. The mission was to die for a lost and dying world. He knew the Father had planned this redemption mission to bring man back to him. He did this with no hesitation. Now that's love. Before Jesus hung his head and died on the cross, he declared these words, "It is finished," meaning that we were no longer separated from God, but now we're joint heirs with Jesus. Time is not long before the Savior of the world will return. He is coming for his bride, the church. Knowing the close of the age is near, Satan has increased his attacks. AIDS, crack, racism, greed, lust, oppression, depression, and the list goes on. The enemy has wiped out generations of young and old from all races. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and the rulers of wickedness in high places. We cannot fight in the flesh, but we must fight in the Spirit of God, in the name of Jesus. For then and only then we will be victorious. There are people that have been victimized by Satan. He turned the world against them as they gazed upon them in disgust. Satan took the beautiful melanin in their skin and made the world detest them. He used slavery, discrimination, and other tactics to annihilate these people. God's voice thunders. From what place have you come? From walking to and from the earth. You know why Satan laughs. The ground shakes and trembles, and God points his finger in Satan's direction. Satan falls to his knees onto his belly. Now wait, I'm just doing what I legally can do. My time is not up yet. He whines. So can we speak and just talk, he please? The glory of God is as bright as the sun. He speaks from his throne. Who are you wanting to try? Satan from a crouching position lifts his head. His eyes are full of darkness. Let me, if you will, try the black race. He continued, they are a gentle-natured people who fear you and turn from evil. I want to take away their soul and leave them with heads hanging down and hearts broken. Satan waits for God's answer. A scale appears at the foot of God's throne. My scale of justice will not allow you to destroy this race of people. His voice sounded like many waters. God continues, you may try them, he says. Satan laughs. I will exile them to distant lands and enslave them. I will make a mockery of them and cause them to be treated like beasts of burden. I will rip babies from their mother's breast, and they will never know her love. I will make the black man bow down all he has to others. He won't even have the right to own his own name. Satan slowly rises. Oh, and I will introduce crack, drugs into the community. I think I will call it crack. He laughs a ghoulish laugh. I crack myself up. He says, and he vanishes like a vapor. Satan returned to his kingdom to give instructions to the fallen angels. All the demons are there and are in line according to their rank. We have been given permission to break the black race. As Satan raised his hands, a chant started in the bowels of hell. Murder, more murder, more murder, more murder. We will break their backs and give them nothing but lack. We will give them the crack so they can never come back. Satan took his seat on an iron throne, entangled with hissing snakes. Smoke and sulfur surrounded them. The sound of chains rattled, and the wailing of gnashing of teeth were deafening. The King of Kings and the Lord of Lords meeting. While Satan is having his meeting in hell below, Jesus is having a meeting in heaven above. Jesus stood and spoke to Gabriel. The meeting in heaven above. Jesus stood and spoke to Gabriel, the archangel. Satan, the accuser of the black race, has requested to sift them like wheat. Jesus spoke, let's prepare for battle. Jesus said. Gabriel stood ready with his trumpet. Satan wants the black race to break and curse my Father. Jesus raised his scepter as the light shimmered around his golden jewel crown. I decree no tricks and traps that Satan puts on them will prosper. Despite every scheme and device, I will not let them lose hope. We will provide everything that is needed to let every man be a liar and God be the truth. One can put 1,000 to flight, and two can put 2,000 to flight. They will have all heaven behind them, in front of them, on the sides of them. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Gabriel blew his trumpet, and the ministering angels were dispatched. Birth bound and blind. Different times in history show the struggle of this great race of people that has been targeted by Satan, from the Congo of Africa to the inner cities of America, reel from the effects of addiction. In the heavens, Cleo's Dante Miller is next in line. He comes before the throne to worship. The heavens are getting excited. Cleo is about to leave and be born into earth. At such a time as this, Cleo gets on his knees. He shouts, Jesus is Lord. The trumpet blasts. The clapping begins. Hallelujah shouts. Cleo and the angels take flight in ecstatic praise in heaven. Cleo is not bound by gravity. It is normal in heaven for Cleo to walk underwater and talk to fish. See, before the fall, all of this was possible. If you go back to Eden, Adam took off the glory. Jesus put the glory back on. All creation was dancing in celebration of Cleo's to be earthborn day. Cleo looks in amazement as the glory of God fills the heavens. He begins to speak to the God the Father. Father, you are about to place me in my mother's womb as I prepare to go through the portal. I can't help but think about you and I and the first Adam. That's the first chapter of Koke and Cleo. We appreciate you listening, and we need your help. Not begging, just need your help. We need an executive producer. I got the product, you got the money. My Gmail address is gstamps1962@gmail.com. Thank you for this is the first half. We'll be back with the second half in a few minutes. Thank you.
The Mississippi Link is an African American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.
My name is Glenn Stamps, the author of Koke and Cleo. We're going to pick up where we left off. What precious moments you two shared as father and son. Imagine the lion and the lamb together in peace, Cleo smiled. I know there's a lot of strife and division in the earth. I am willing to go and do your will, Cleo continued. Father, I know you will never leave me nor forsake me. I know that my Savior has already made a way of escape for me. And I know you know everything about me. Yes, my son Cleophas, Father God said. Cleophas, my son, if I showed you the journey that you are about to take, I know that you will not take its first step. The Trinity called. Cleophas, come to the fourth. The lion from the tribe of Judah reaches over and pats Cleo on the shoulder. Light shine through the holes in his hand. Cleo, you are about to begin your ministry. You are about to be placed in the earth of your mother's womb. Remember, you will have access to everything Jesus had. He is the example you are to live by. Cleo, you have been blessed with many talents. Your gifts will take you before kings and make room for you. Cleo shakes his head. I accept this challenge, and I am ready to go through the portal. Cleo begins to spin in a circle. As he goes through the portal, and the light surrounding him grows brighter and brighter. Now there is a special bond between Annabelle and Leola. Let's go back a few years to November 22nd, 1960, and see how it all started. These two women met as children. Leola discovered that she's about to give birth to a son who will be used to deliver people addicted to crack cocaine. His name will be Cleophas Dante Miller III. These two ladies have encouraging one another by praying, reading, and believing God's word, the word that declares Jesus is Lord. These women are called deliverers by God. Why do you say that? They will give birth to sons who will be used by God to deliver his people. Dedicate the firstborn male to me. The firstborn from every womb belongs to me. Every day at noon for several months, Annabelle and Leola go to church and pray. However, they have no clue that Annabelle's son, 17-year-olds, will be instrumental in God's plan for Cleo's mission of deliverance. David attends prayer with his mother, Annabelle, and Skeeter Taylor, the church organist. The pastor of the church is keen on safety. The deacon opens the door. Skeeter Taylor comes some days. On one day, the Spirit of the Lord begins to move upon David. He begins to prophesy. Leola Dorney Smiller, the child that you carry and deliver, has been anointed to preach a message of deliverance to set the captives free. Bondages will be broken. Lives will be healed and restored. The battle will be fierce, but have no fear. I have already overcome the evil, the enemy, and taken away his power to hurt your son. Remain steadfast, unmovable in your faith. For your light affliction, which is but for a moment, works for you far more exceeding an eternal weight of glory. Be prepared to fight the good fight of faith. There will be times that he will feel like that I have abandoned him, but I'll always be by his side. There will be times when he wants to quit, but I will not let him throw in the towel. It will be like going through a brick wall, but I will see you safely through. You continue to come to the rock of your salvation. I am that I am has spoken. Leola is on her knees. She shivers from the words of the Lord. Tears pool in her eyes, and Annabelle embraces her at the altar. There, child. No fear and no doubt. Do you hear me? Annabelle says as she rocks Leola in her arms. David's part of the mission has already been established by God. He has already begun to prepare the way for the mission. Like John the Baptist prepared the way for Jesus, the Savior of the world. When the baby laughs, the promise will come. Skeeter, what baby? It is July 22nd, 1961, and Leola's husband, Cleo Jr., is drunk and about to hit her. She runs out of the house to her childhood friend's house, Annabelle, to safety. Leola knocks on the door, sounding like the police. Hurry, open the door, Leola cries. She is big and pregnant. Annabelle jumps up and runs to the door. Child, why are you crying? Cleo is trying to jump on me, and I can't let him hit me. I don't want nothing to happen to my baby. She cries. Annabelle lets her in. Leola looks surprised to see Annabelle looking somewhat deceived. Annabelle, what's wrong? Leola asks, looking concerned. Annabelle just shakes her head from side to side. I just feel so tired and overwhelmed. I don't know what's wrong. I just want to rest from the cares of the world. It's just something all the time, and I get tired, Annabelle said, shrugging her shoulder. So what about praying? Prayer changes things, remember? Leola said. She is feeling concerned about her prayer warrior and friend. Girl, I know that prayer changes things. It's just all these things that are changing me. And I know that, Annabelle says. I just want to go somewhere and have me a drink. Annabelle sighed. A drink, Leola said, surprised. I don't think you should, because it won't solve anything. It's why I just ran from my house, because Cleo Jr. is drunk. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. It's just how I feel. And I've been feeling and having this feeling for a few days now, Annabelle said. Well, you know, you used to hang out in the clubs and party back in the day. I think you just need to get some rest and pray. God will see you through, Leola pleaded. Leola looks at Annabelle as she walks to the window and stares outside. What about the prophecy, Leola says. Don't look at me like that, Annabelle says. I'm not God. I'm not the one who's responsible for the prophecy. He is, Annabelle said. She turned from the window and looked at Leola. I might be able to help somebody tonight at the club. The club, Leola said. Yes, and I'm not going to leave you here either. You will be all right, Annabelle said. I don't know about this, Leola said, frowning. As they arrived at the club, the first person they saw was Leola's husband. Look at CJ, Annabelle said. She nodded her head in his direction. He was standing at the front door of the club. As soon as he saw them, he walked over to their car. He looked incredibly surprised to see them. He looked at Leola with big puppy dog eyes and stuck his head in the car. Baby, you came to see me, he said. He tries to kiss Leola on her cheek, but she turns her head. Oh, girl, I'm sorry for trying to hit you. I don't know what got into me, CJ said. Annabelle rolled her eyes. The devil in that whiskey, Annabelle said. CJ threw his hand at Annabelle. Leola, just come home. I promise I won't hit you. He begged. Leola looked at her handsome husband. She wanted to go home, but knew that CJ was still drinking. Annabelle interrupted. CJ's charming effect. Girl, don't you believe no fool. Don't you be no fool. Because as soon as you get home, that joker will be whooping your behind. Leola looked down and fidgeted with her purse handle. It will probably be best if I stay with Annabelle until the baby is born, she said nervously. Can I come and visit CJ? Said X. I don't know. I have to think about it, Leola said. She looked him in his eyes. She felt sorry for him because it seemed like he was trapped. Yet, she knew that those eyes could shift from love to hate in a minute. Leola thought that those eyes would shift from love to hate in a minute. Leola thought it was because deep down that CJ hated himself. Hated not being able to come up like some other his relatives and friends. Perhaps all his anger was fear turned inside out. Fear of not being a good father and fear of losing her. Despite all this, Leola still loved him. CJ opened the car door. He staggered a bit. Okay, let's go in, CJ said. Now, CJ, don't you try nothing funny, Annabelle warned him. Please shut up, CJ said. He looked over at Leola and then at Annabelle. I still can't believe you prayer warriors are at the club, he said. Leola stayed quiet and listened to Annabelle and CJ as they went back and forth. The music from the club was floating outside as the people went in and out of the club. Come on, let's go inside, Annabelle said sternly. Leola looked over at Annabelle and then at the club. You don't have to do nothing but sit down, Annabelle said. She patted Leola on the shoulder and stepped out of the car. Move, Leola told Cleo. She scooted and twisted herself up and went in. Without any assistance, Skeeter walked up to the club and looked blankly at Cleo Jr. What looks like the whole congregation is at the club tonight, Cleo Jr. laughed. Now, what is really going on, he said, looking Skeeter up and down. Now, what is really going on, he said, looking Skeeter up and down. Annabelle took charge as usual. Skeeter, come on, and let's go in. Skeeter and Leola followed Annabelle's lead. Cleo Jr. said, snickering. He followed behind Leola looking wolfish. The club was jumping at Tina Turner's song, Shaking Like a Tail Feather, blared across the speakers. No sooner had they set foot in the club, a young man asked Annabelle to dance. Baby, see, I'm a Christian, Annabelle explained. Then why you in here? He asked. If you want to save my soul, come on, baby, he said. Give her a minute, Skeeter said. Wait till she gets a little vodka and cranberry juice in her, and she'll dance all night. He laughed. Shut up, Skeeter, you monkey, Annabelle said, clutching her necklace. I don't drink to get drunk, no way. She said in her defense, well, I do drink a little bit. It's just to relax my nerves. Annabelle said as she pushed Skeeter, making him stumble a bit. Skeeter, don't you start on me tonight, Annabelle said, looking like a pit bull. Okay, Skeeter said, holding up his hands. You are an undercover alcoholic, trying to talk about me, Annabelle said indignantly. No, alcoholics go to meetings. I'm a drunk and I go to parties, Skeeter laughed. Everyone laughed except Leola. She was feeling like a fish out of water. Everything about being here was wrong. You long-mouthed, dirty bastard, Annabelle said, as she put her purse down on the table. Leola's mouth dropped in shock. Annabelle, watch your mouth, Leola said. Remember, you are a Christian, and I still don't know why we had to come here. Leola protested. 'Cause I needed to, Annabelle said, as she ordered of vodka and cranberry. Ha! Now don't get too turned up. Remember we got choir rehearsal tomorrow, Skeeter said. Everybody locked their eyes on Annabelle as she took a big swig of her drink. Well, don't lie and say Jesus turned water into wine in church tomorrow, Cleo Jr. joked. Leola put her hands up to her mouth to keep from bursting out laughing. Skeeter roared with laughing. Annabelle almost spit her drink across the table. She was laughing so hard. Man, I can't stand you. I hope Leola never comes home to you. She said, laughing. All night, Cleo Jr. kept his arms wrapped around Leola, trying to convince her to come home. Leola just sat there watching Annabelle and Skeeter burning up the floor all night. Skeeter was right. As soon as Annabelle had gotten enough vodka and cranberry in her, she was ready. It is better not to eat meat or drink wine or to do anything else that would cause your brother or sister to fall, is what Leola kept hearing inside her. Lord, please protect my baby. She prayed inside herself. Finally, Annabelle had had her fill and was ready to go. Everyone said their farewells and went their separate ways. Cleo Jr. was disappointed still. Wouldn't. Leola wouldn't go with him. When Annabelle and Leola go back to Annabelle's house, it's lights out. You see how exciting that is? And this is just the beginning. There's so much drama, and you're going to cry, you're going to laugh, you're going to have fun. I need me an executive producer. I need you to help me produce this. Get it in the bookstores. Let's get it in the movies. Let's do a sitcom. Let's do a play. All in this one book. I'm Glenn Stamps, and I'm soliciting your help. I'm not begging. I'm just asking. The Bible said, ask, and ye shall receive. I'm just asking, and I hope to receive from you. Thank you. Coke and Cleo, baby. Peace.
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Welcome back to Socrates Garrett Live. We're broadcasting live from right here in Jackson, Mississippi, in the heart of the deep, deep South. You know, in the South, where I like to say that the air is just a little bit cleaner and the grass is just a little bit greener. We're a state of less than 3 million people, and most of us in the state are related to one another. We have more mulattoes in Mississippi than anywhere else in the country. That's because we have mixed families, but yet we don't get along. Yet there's a concerted effort to keep the black man and woman in poverty in this great state. And we know that by policies that are being made every day. The governor's refusal to accept Medicaid expansion into Mississippi is just one of those examples. Another of the examples is the governor had to send back the benefits for unemployment because he stated that the Mississippians were too lazy to come back to work after they received their unemployment check and sent the money back. Now, Mississippi is a welfare state. That means by that, every dollar that we send to Mississippi, we get $3 and change back. But yet we are a conservative state that follow the ideas and the ideologies of the Republican Party to a T. We are a deep red state, but we're poor. And we've been poor for the longest. We're ranked last in every major category of importers. And we've had some of the worst scandals that we've been talking about in 2022 and beyond that directly impacted poor people in Mississippi. We have the highest prison population of any state in the nation, and America has the highest prison population of any country in the world. And so while we're in the land of opportunity, we have policies and conditions that regulate us to the bottom in most categories. Now, this cannot continue. This cannot be, and black folk are going to have to do things to bring about the change. And what they're doing currently is not going to work, and that's all of the high murders and the killings that are taking place in the African-American community. Jackson was ranked #1 in crime in 2021. You know, right next to St. Louis, Missouri, you had 154 homicides in 2021. In 22, we had 140 homicides, and I had Chantel Johnson on the Hurt Is the Same that you can see right here on this platform, who said there have been over 500 murders in this city in the last 5 years. So the strategy that black folk are employing, which is to kill one another, is not working. But then some of this is being predicated and regulated by what Dr. Henderson describes as a man-made Negro. And I didn't quite understand, and I want him to expound on that a bit, because my position is that Mississippi has had great leaders like Aaron Henry, like Medgar Evers, like Vernon Damer, and others. So in light of where we are, how do we create a man-made Negro?
It's very simple. Now let me give you the other end of this before we talk about this.
Yeah.
See, I told you have two types of Negro. You have the man-made Negro, and you have what I call the self-made Negro. The self-made Negro are those black people that had very little originally in their lives. The parents were hard workers, very little education, but they wanted their kids to go to school, get a profession if possible, or at least become a school teacher or a preacher. Those are the self-made people. Then you have the man-made people, the black people, that were the descendants of those old people that I just mentioned that raised those boys and girls like Charles Evers, Medgar Evers, Miss Pittman and others, and Aaron Henry. The self-made folks, their children are now in the legislature. They are mayors in the city council. They are judges and so forth. But most of these people had a chance to go to the white colleges and universities because some of the black colleges and universities was not good enough, even though the parents might have graduated from Jackson State, Alcorn, MBSC, or Tougaloo. Many of their children, now that's in the legislature, that's in the mayor position and others, didn't attend school in Mississippi. They went elsewhere. So these are the man-made Negroes. They studied different things. They always said we. The others, man-made Negro, says us. They call blacks those people. Medgar Evers and his folks call blacks our people. So when those people are referenced by black people, they're talking about the underclass black people that they are descendants from, but they don't want to associate with. So when they got the first chance to leave, they left the black community. They moved to the suburbs and others. A lot of those white folks that controlled them encouraged them to get loans and move to my neighborhood. But only one or two of you all now can get in a gated community, but the rest of you can live out in the suburb close to us. And we'll let you visit us every now and then. We want to tell you what you have to do. And those black folks, like Medgar Evers, Mr. what the guy's name you said,
Vernon
Vernon Damon, stayed in the black community, worked in the black community, and made decisions for my people. These others make decisions for those people, but they don't ever announce what they do. I talk to some often. They say, well, we're working on things. We can't talk about what we are doing, but we're going to help y'all out. Things will get better.
Gonna help y'all out.
That's what we say. Those people, we're going to help them. We'll help them out. Now, this is going on today as we speak.
Wow. Now, let's go back to the Mississippi Link for a moment. In this same article by Emily Pettis, it states that it's shameful and disgusting, especially when Mississippi, a state where we hear discussions every year about poor people not needing resources and poor people being lazy and just needing to get up and go to work. That's what the leadership in the state of Mississippi, the European leadership, and maybe some of the African American leadership say about the citizens in Mississippi, that you are just lazy. And it's shameful that you won't get off of your butt and go to work. And yet Mississippi has the lowest minimum wage in the country. And we have the highest unemployment. I believe unemployment in the African American male community is greater than 40%.
It is.
I believe it's greater than 40%, Doc.
It is greater.
And so at this same time, we have people saying that we're lazy and shiftless and irresponsible, and we find ourselves in a perpetual state of poverty and economic delusion.
That is a fact. And this situation is going to get worse because you will see when you came along, when I came along, and our brothers and sisters, when we finished high school, we could have a skill or trade, a technical or vocational job if we wanted to. When I finished high school, I could have been a carpenter, a bricklayer, auto mechanic. But when my son went to high school, they didn't have those trades. He would have to finish high school and join a community college or a private college in order to become an auto mechanic, or go to that one or two schools for dropouts that they call career development centers. And you had to be 16 to 24 to get in those. But you had to have a little clout to get in there. If you're a real bad black person that was kicked out of school, you couldn't go. If you had a special education certificate, they might let a few of you go, but you couldn't get a credential, even if you went 5 years, because you didn't have what they call the right education. So you would get out a job as an auto mechanic with a social promotion and couldn't even spell car. You see, you got social promoted up until a few years ago throughout the South. That's the situation. So it hadn't gotten any better, it's gotten worse. So those very people that can't work, that are called lazy, they really can't work. They can't do very much. Due to technology, automation, and robots, you don't have a lot of jobs that someone can do that they used to do with their hands.
Not anymore.
When I came along, you can get a job in construction. My dad worked in construction 30 years. He never used a backhoe, never used a bulldozer. They built subdivisions in northeast Jackson, in Vicksburg, and other places. Matter of fact, he worked on Presidential Hills in Jackson. He and those black men dug all the foundations with picks and shovels. Right now, a black man can't get a job doing pick and shovel work. They want him to drive the backhoe. But where are you going to get that training? The white boys got that training.
Right.
So that's the difference.
Right. So we're at a state. We got to go back, and we, in Mississippi, we have legislation that keeps us from teaching black history in our school system. It's critically important that we understand why that is, because the history of Mississippi is not something to be proud of. African Americans have been treated rough in Mississippi from the beginning of slavery. Doc, you have talked to me on times about how bad slavery was. And I know that there are viewers out there that say, you guys just got to get over it. You got to get over it. You got to do like Haley Barber said, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And you can't keep talking about, you know, the situation and the circumstances that you came from. But the reason we keep talking about it is because it's getting worse. We believe that blacks were better off in 1970 than they are in 2023. Blacks own more land in the 1900s than they do in 2023. Blacks had more businesses. We had more people that were middle class landowners than we have today. So there is something here that we got to talk about that's taken us back to a period of time that rivals when we first came over here on those very, very dangerous ships that brought us over here. And yeah, there are my European brothers with their talk shows out there every day that says, well, white folk didn't sell you into slavery. It was your own people that sold you into slavery. And our own people may be a part of everything that's happened to us that is bad, including what's going on today.
Of course.
That's a shame and a disgrace.
Well, it was just the culture and the history of those Africans to fight each other. It was just like the Europeans were fighting each other. They had slaves, they had serfs, they had all kinds of people that were considered worse than slaves. They were locked in on their land. They were locked out of education. They were locked out of the court system. They could be picked up and put in prison if they wanted to. They could be picked up and put in prison and say you can't get out unless you pay your debt. They know they couldn't get out, so they served 30 and 40 years. It got so bad and had so many of them in Europe, they had to send them to America, you see. Then the Africans, on the other hand, fought each other, put their friends and neighbors and tribes in slavery. They pulled them into the coastal area, and the European was there, smiling and skinning and grinning with their little flags and little soldiers, a few weapons, and red scarves and jewelry and stuff, and gave it to blacks. And they bought those blacks and put them on ships, and the blacks were accustomed to selling their slaves and putting them down into the interior, selling them to the next chief. So they weren't worried about it, because they were taught in a clannish manner. They were tribe types people. If you were not of the right clan, the right tribe, didn't speak the right dialect, you're not part of us. The Europeans did the same thing. That's why they had so many wars in Europe. The Germans, the French, the vassals, and others, the Turks, getting into the Middle Eastern part. People throughout the history of mankind never did like each other. Cain and Abel, which only had a few people in the world, didn't like each other. And that started all this killing and what I call human hatred. That's when you just had a few hundred or a few thousand in the world. Now we have about 7 or 8 billion. And we hate each other worse now. You still have gradualism, regionalism, statism.
Well, is this hate something that's permanent? That's something that...
It is. You don't have to go any further. It's permanent. Man was made to always want more than he deserved. He always wanted what you had, and he wanted to take it if you didn't give it to him. And if you didn't give it to him, he had 3 ways to get it. He would take it by force, he would kill you and get it, or he'd take it from you after he put you in prison or make you economically dependent where you can't even get a job. So that means you had to work for him or get in his prison system for 10, 30, or 40 years and leave your woman there to take care of the children. And then he controlled the woman.
We're in Mississippi, in the deep, deep South. We're having this conversation about Mississippi, but it applies to African Americans throughout the world. We're finding that the conditions of Africans are similar throughout the entire world. We wonder about how Haiti is so poor. And why is it as poor as it is when that island and that part of the country and that region is so beautiful? We wonder about why Africans in other parts of the world are poor and displaced. And it happens everywhere we go. When we look at the brutal war that's going on in Ukraine, when African Americans were trying to leave that country, they were told to get off the bus, that they could not go. Doc, we are not thought highly of, not only not in Mississippi, but anywhere in the world. And I'm not sure how in the world we earn that status.
Well, I'm going to tell you why it happened. A lot of people don't know ancient black history. The ancients, we call the ancient Africans. I'm not talking about the Arab Africans or the European Africans. Those real Africans that were bred and born in Africa were some of the greatest fighters in the world during that time. They had some of the best education in the world. They were lawyers and scientists and doctors, invented all kinds of things, could do surgery back in ancient times. Can actually heal the sick. Now it's almost against the law they heal the sick. They are rather for you to stay alive now and get a lot of drugs for 30, 40 years than to heal you. Back in those days, they would give you operations, and if you didn't die on the spot, you would live. They could do that complicated surgery. But now you don't find that happening. So when they had black people back in those days that were able to do things, they were great warriors, and they could fight, and they started moving around through Europe and Spain, Italy, places like that. And they said, we got to curtail these people. And that's when they started what we call this Mongolizing black folks. Some of y'all call it making another new group. You call them mulattoes and others, Quatrons, and so on. They made another new man, a new group, and told those high-colored Negroes in Europe, Asia, Africa, those folks are inferior. They are savages. You are part of us, so I'm going to let you work close to me. You're going to work in my house. You're going to work in my office, but you will be the clean-up person. You'll shine my shoes. They did to military guys. Just before I went in the military, black folks couldn't do certain jobs, but the Navy people had to take care of the food, shine the officers' shoes, and when they got in the Army, they put them in the ammo dumps and put them in transportation. And after a while, they put a few in MP, military police. That's basically what they could do. So man, it has never been good for the black man, because they know if they turn that black man loose and he gets a little more education, and he better not pool his resources and unify as black people all over the world, black people will control the world in 15 years.
Doc,
if they just had equality. And the European Americans and worldwide will never freely give black people in Mississippi, in the South, in America, and the world equality. They will not do it.
Because they fear that black people will control.
That's right, because they know they have treated them so badly throughout the years. They don't want to go through the centuries in the future of being raped, murdered, burned alive, castrated, picking up the woman walking the street and violating her by taking her around the corner, going to the black man's house and telling his wife, when you blow the horn, to go out the back door and meet me in the back. I used to see that when I was a boy. White folks don't want that to happen to their people, so they're going to do everything they can to keep that from happening and keep the knowledge concealed. And I told you before, that's why I want to talk about critical race theory. A white person would pass a law and say, we ain't going to talk about no critical race theory, and it's not even being taught.
You're not even being taught.
Because we don't want our kids to know about our history.
Let's go back to
they'll start committing suicide if they would know the history of Mississippi, the South, and the United States.
And suicide is not always a bad thing.
No, it's not illegal.
Back in the Mississippi League, Robert Bob Anderson, the current Mississippi Department of Human Services Executive Director, told Democratic state lawmakers in October that about 90% of the people who apply for TANF in Mississippi don't receive it. 90% of the people who apply for assistance do not receive it, either because their applications are denied, because they abandon the application, or they just give up. Those who do qualify get the lowest payments in the country. according to the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities. Doc, we got it bad in Mississippi.
We got it bad, but that's nothing new, sir.
We got it bad, Doc.
That's nothing new.
But we got to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, I'm told.
No, you can't do that because you have no boots. So what you're going to have to do is you got 2 pennies. You're going to have to get your 2 pennies and put with my 2 pennies and get me in an economic position where I'm semi-independent. Then I have to go and buy something that I sell to you. Then you have to find something to make and sell to me. And then I have to go out and pool my resource and get with another person and build a small little factory and sell those things to me in the local area, my other folks in this regional area, statewide and national. That's the only salvation for black folks. Self-control.
That's what we had in the beginning, before integration.
That's right.
We were self-sufficient.
Exactly right. Even during slavery, you had, according to Dr. Claude Anderson, over 200,000 free black people, and all of them were independent enough to make their own living, and you didn't find them down in the street somewhere dead from starvation. It didn't happen. They worked.
Answer this question for me, because we got a city that is 85% black. Got black government in both the city and the county. The school system and the airport. Over $1 billion flow through black-controlled hands every year. But yet we're last in everything.
It's going to be that way, sir.
So we can't blame that on the Europeans.
No, you can't blame it on the European directly. You blame it on them indirectly. Because the Europeans control the money. The blacks might be the mayor, might be in the county supervisor's position. They might be over the school board. But where's the money? The money is controlled by European Americans. It's in their banks.
How?
So whoever controls the money controls the policy.
Oh. So we are what you call symbols.
That's right.
We have titles with no authority.
No authority.
No ability to be self-sufficient. No ability to circulate the dollars amongst ourselves.
Not even where you're in the majority and when you have the money. For instance, a school superintendent is one of the less powerful persons around. They have very little power, but it sounds like a big job to be a superintendent of a public school, and you have access to $4 or $5 million that you can spend every year.
300 and some million goes through the school system.
That's right. Just in one county or one city. But you can't teach what you want to teach. The state done told you what you can teach and what you can't teach. When you get ready to build something with the money that you think you have, they will tell you, well, you got to bid it out, and we're going to tell you who the contractor is going to be. And when there's a black contractor that try to get himself certified, you have to pay $30,000 to get all the credentials, got to be bonded and so forth. And then they're going to tell you, well, you're not qualified for that. And when you get qualified, well, sir, Miss Socrates, you're supposed to be in business at least 5 years, and you've already don't have the appropriate bond, even though you could move this stuff or you can produce this. And believe it or not, you don't have enough capacity to do what we need you to do. Plus, your administrators are not certified or qualified to do it. So therefore, instead of you getting 15 or 20%, we're going to give you 2 to 5% of this contract, and all you're going to do is do what I tell you to do, move a few rocks here, paint a little building here, and we'll make all the decisions and give you a check.
So the state controls the money.
That's right.
And he that controls the money controls the outcome.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Socrates Garrett Live. We hope you will join us next week as we continue to deal with the issues surrounding Mississippi and the world and how it impacts African Americans throughout this country. We're going to be inviting in 2023, we're going to invite more guests in and have a dialogue with them, especially our elected officials and those in positions of power. We want to talk to our black bankers. We want to talk to our black ministers about their role in changing the conditions of our people. Now, Dr. Henderson and I have been like John the Baptist, sounding off from the wilderness for a long, long time. He and I both have a lot of years that we can talk about and testify about how things were and how they are today and where we see them heading. And somebody needs to start listening, because what we are projecting is that Mississippi and African Americans are headed into a new realm of devastation, more poverty, more homelessness, economic deprivation than ever before in history in the land of the plenty. Dr. Henderson, any parting shouts before we get out of here?
Yeah, I just want people to understand that there are many solutions to these problems we just addressed. Personally, I will be providing solutions to all these things that I've mentioned, more so in 2023 than before. I have solutions in economic development, politics, religion, leadership, and education and training that can work in 30, 60, 90 days if black people would take advantage of it.
We look forward to Dr. Henderson bringing us those solutions in 2023. He said he's going to do more of that, and we certainly want him to do that right here on We Believe Digital. Those of you on YouTube, subscribe. Facebook, send stars and share this program with friends and family. On We Believe Digital, hit the donate button. We need fuel. We need the resources to continue and expanding our coverage of what's going on in the African American community. We cannot allow others to tell our story, to continue to keep our history, and to control the narrative. We must do that at African Americans. We're making a giant effort to be your voice right here in Mississippi at We Believe Digital. Until next week, we want to say good evening and stay safe.
Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hey, great day, everybody. Welcome to the buffet with Tony Yarmer. Listen, I am super excited about today's show. Super excited about this episode. We are going to have some real interesting conversations this afternoon. So go on and share. Let everybody know that the buffet is live. The table is spread. We've got the hottest Friday wine down that you're going to find anywhere as it relates to your local, state, and federal politics, whether we're talking about current events. Today we're talking all things current events, and we're particularly talking around crime in Jackson, specifically about the crime summit that happened yesterday. One of my homeboys called it the Crime Clown Show. And I kind of tend to agree with him. We're going to talk Capitol Police. We're also going to talk about this announcement that the mayor made yesterday about almost $800 million that's coming to the city. That's been increased from what we were talking about, $600 million. And we're going to get into some of the minutia of those things once we dive in. I need you right now to go on and share. And go on and like, go on and press those stars, and go on and let folks know that the buffet is live. Look, I'm inviting you to participate today, be a part of what we're doing, be a part of the show. You can do that via your comments. We'll be paying attention and we'll be watching that. So looking forward to your participation today and expecting to have a real good time. Thank you, Miss Grayson. I see the stars. What's going on, Miss Lewis? Good to see you. Y'all make sure y'all press that share button. I'm ready to get started. I came in and on my way in here, I'd been paying attention because I'm uniquely interested in what's happening in D.C. right now at the Capitol as they are trying to elect a speaker. And look, I like politics just like everybody else. I've been enjoying seeing Republicans do exactly what we always knew that they would do if they got control, and that is make a mess, make an absolute mess. What blows my mind, here's what blows my mind. What blows my mind is that folk right here in the state of Mississippi, where the state legislature the supermajority are Republicans, all right? And I won't even run through all of the statistics. I'm not going to even run down all of the things that are wrong in the state of Mississippi, but Republican leadership. And so what's happening in D.C., I'm no more surprised about it than anybody else. I expected it, and I expect a whole lot more of it. So y'all buckle in, grab your popcorn. It's gonna be crazy in D.C. over the next, I don't know how long, 2 years maybe. But buckle in for the ride. It's gonna be real interesting. Yesterday, shifting gears. Yesterday, there was I guess a crime panel summit discussion or some that it appeared that the mayor Lumumba hosted. I don't know. I saw him in the center. I'm just assuming there was a representative from the U.S. Marshals there. The chief of Jackson Police was there. I saw our very fine High Sheriff Tyree Jones was there, and some other folks sitting around the table that represented community members, and the mayor's sister, Miss Rukia, was there. I think I saw maybe Deputy Chief Hearns around the table, and I'm I don't normally dive into stuff, particularly when it comes to actual figureheads, and I try to avoid that. I try to avoid any direct criticism unless I got to do it. But I just want to be honest that I don't know what I watched yesterday. I have no idea what I was watching. Initially, when I tuned in and I heard the young man from the U.S. Marshals giving his spiel, initially I'm under the assumption that we're here to hear about some partnership. You got all these partners around the table, or potential partners, opportunities for partnership, and that's what I'm expecting. And that thing went left. I don't know what happened in the midst of all of that. I don't know how old ladies who can't sit on their porches got lost. I don't know how a 15-year-old girl who had just been shot was the remnants of her was still likely on Meadow Lane out in South Jackson, and it just seemed as though the people in the room were tone deaf. It was as if, and don't get me wrong, I understand that there is a level of policing that has to be done from a real place of trust, and I get that. You're talking to a guy whose administration reduced violent crime by 15%, so I get that. What I don't think I was understanding yesterday was it almost looked like there was this attack on policing, and I'm not talking about particular people. I'm talking about the tone. Yeah, Bishop, that's what I got, man. I got that. I that's what I thought. It was almost like the people were tone deaf in the room, and I'm sitting at home, still living in South Jackson. Children still live around the corner from Meadow Lane, and I'm getting frustrated as I don't know what, because at some point I don't even know that the people in the room were talking about protecting and serving the community anymore. I don't know what it turned to. Let me tell you the first thing that let me know. Yeah, Bishop, absolutely. The people in the room had their hearing aids turned down. When I first turned the TV on rather, or the laptop, whatever I was on, and I'm watching, and I immediately sat up because, I sat up because I saw Mayor Lamone was sitting next to a federal official. I was like, oh, it's a federal law enforcement official. Let me be clear, a federal law enforcement official. And I sat up, I was like, okay, this is about to be interesting, because that ain't typically what we see. We don't really see the mayor dealing with the feds like that. So I sat up, and I was really trying to take it seriously, but I could not get over the fact that all of the people in the room who represent these agencies, who represent opportunities for partnership, had I been in the room, I would have felt a little uncomfortable about even being there. And here's why. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. First of all, I believe that the people that should have been in the room were people that represent Capitol Police. Let me just say that. All right? The people who should have been in the room for what I heard happening in the room should have been Capitol Police. I turned my TV on to understand or to listen or to find out about some partnership, okay? A partnership that was gonna stop 15-year-old girls from getting killed in the doggone street. I thought I was turning to it to understand or to learn or to hear or to find out about some partnership that was going to provide wraparound services that would not only help to suppress crime, but also go into communities, figure out, try to understand what are the contributing factors, and then apply the necessary resources in those areas to do it. We got to learn how to walk and chew gum at the same time. You got me? We got to learn how to provide support where that support is necessary, and then we've got to not mind providing the rod in cases where the rod should not be spared. And I think we can do both of those. I ain't hear that yesterday. I didn't hear that yesterday. What I really heard was more of the same. I heard more of the same. I heard we're gonna have 100 and something murders again this year. What I heard was there is no real plan in place. I ain't hear nothing from the chief. I heard nothing from the chief. Nothing. I heard nothing from the chief. Bishop says 2 members of my church saw the shooting before coming to church Wednesday. Yeah, man, and that's the traumatic those are the traumatic kinds of things that folk are dealing with, and we're walking around here spending money on stuff that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Look, and I get it. I'm saying that Capitol Police should have been in the room yesterday, and here's why I'm gonna tell you why I believe Capitol Police should have been in the room. Now, the legislation that put Capitol Police in place, the legislation, Kim, you crazy, you about right. The legislation that was put in place, or that put Capitol Police in place, is the Capitol Complex legislation. All right, so it was more than one piece. There's also infrastructure improvements that's happening. There's a whole infrastructure master plan. 2 projects have already gotten underway and finished. So it's not just policing, law enforcement. It's also infrastructure improvements as well. Well, on this very show, back in the summertime, Tony Yarber was asking, where is the memorandum of understanding that the Jackson Police Department and the Capitol Police are supposed to have in place per the legislation? Well, there were a few articles done here and there where the chief of the Capitol Police said exactly the right things, all of the right stuff. Well, we met with the leadership in Jackson, and we're looking forward to a relationship. He said all the right things. Over in Jackson, they said all the right things. And I look, now, if there is anybody out here who can say, nah, Tony, you wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, please call 1-800-492-5186. I want you to correct me. I want to be wrong, but I don't believe I am, because I have looked. And there is still no mention of a memorandum of understanding in place. Why is that important, Tony, to this entire conversation about all of the stuff that's happening with Capitol Police, about all of the stuff that's going on with Capitol Police? Why is that important? That is important because the MOU does all of the things that everybody's complaining about. This whole idea of jurisdiction, this whole idea of, if I call from downtown, who's going to respond, JPD or Capitol Police? If you don't have the memorandum of understanding in place, how in the world do you expect for there to be some kind of harmonious policing in the Capitol complex? Now, look, I'm with you when you're right. I'm with you when you're right. But when I know that there's some other stuff, then I'm gonna call it out. Bishop says, but TY, what you say? But TY, should the Capitol Police be trolling outside of the Capitol and government buildings? Yes, Bishop. Yes, there is an area based on the Capitol complex legislation that encompasses a large swath of the central part of the city of Jackson. Let me tell you how we got there. I'm glad you asked me. We have always begged the state of Mississippi for payment in lieu of taxes. When I became mayor, I knew that was something that would not happen. It would not be realized because the people down there did not trust the city of Jackson for various reasons. So we sat down, we started thinking about a plan. We considered a what we called the Capitol complex. We called the former mayor, Kane Ditto, because he had a similar proposal. We met our people, hashed that thing out, worked with the Speaker of the House, worked with the Lieutenant Governor, and we got it passed. All right, we got it passed. Now, the reason we got it passed is because the legislation provided for a pot of money to be invested in that was earmarked for infrastructure improvement and for law enforcement for Jackson. It was how the state was going to take care of, because what we did was we carved it out to include all of the state buildings. So whether we're talking about the state capitol, whether we're talking about DHS, the Capitol Police would have the shared jurisdiction with the city of Jackson in patrolling those areas. Or you could take the resources that are the city of Jackson, JPD, and move those out to areas where little kids are getting shot. And Capitol Police could patrol this area and we could partner. But there's no MOU in place. There's no MOU in place. And let me tell you what I believe. Again, if I'm wrong, please call now. Please call 1-800-492-5186. Or you can jump under here. I need everybody, if you're on and you hadn't done this yet, please go share. Hey, y'all got to tell me in the back when it's time to go to commercial, because I don't know.
You got about 2 more minutes
I got 2 more minutes. All right, good. Let me gin in this last 2 more minutes before we go to break. Now, I want to be very clear, because don't nobody need to call me or text me or message me with no foolishness about taking up for Capitol Police. I don't know nothing about Capitol Police. I don't even know who Bo Luckett is. Luckett. I don't even know how to say his name. I don't know nobody who work for Capitol Police. But what I am saying is that it's a dead cat on the line. Because if y'all are serious about developing trust, and this goes for the city of Jackson too. If you're serious about creating trust, then y'all would have worked this MOU out already. But y'all playing games. You're playing games, and I get it. I understand. I heard you loud and clear yesterday at your summit. I heard you. But you got to be honest with folk. You got to say that there is something that is in place that we have not complied with. We have not sat down and said, here's how we're going to handle these calls. Here's how we're going to handle chases. Here's how we're going to handle arrests. Here's how we're going to police in this Capitol Police District. Here's how we're going to do that. And then we're going to turn around and tell the people that. We're going to be transparent and let folks know what we're doing, but y'all playing games with us. Who is y'all? Whoever should be organizing and seeing the implementation of the doggone MOU. Stop playing with folks. Stop playing with people's emotions and stop playing with people's trauma. Stop it. Yesterday, Capitol Police should have been in that doggone meeting, and there should have been some conversation about that MOU. There should have been some conversations about how do we see policing in the doggone city of Jackson with partnership with the federal government, with the sheriff, the high sheriff, Tyree Jones, Chief Davis, and Bo Luckett, whatever his name is. No disrespect. All right? So, I look, it frustrates me, okay? It frustrates me to see people playing politics, playing games. When just be honest, man. Just be honest. Just be honest, because people are dying. People are scared, all right? Because we're not going to be able to continue to guilt people, good people, who are leaving this city. Because the people who are asking to take care of those things are playing with us. And that's what's going on. That's all it is to it. When Pastor Pickett wouldn't be stressed out every day, all day, if somebody would sit down with him and say to him, look, this is why this is going on, man, because there is no MOU in place that applies accountability to nobody. So everybody's able now to do you like this. Everybody can play with you because there's no MOU in place that calls for real accountability. And I'm sick of it. Yeah, I'm sick of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, look. I don't know how much time I got left, but we're going to run to this commercial. Don't you go anywhere. We're going to wrap up this conversation on the other side of the break, and then we're going to dive in some more about this $800 million that's getting ready to hit the city, but not so much. Blessings on you. See you on the other side of the break.
Do you have something to say? Do you want your voice heard? Join the We Believe Global lineup. Be the star of your own show. For more info, call 800-492-5186, option number 1, or visit online at webelieve.global.
Yeah, and we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the buffet. My name is Tony Yarber, and you have found yourself in the midst of a real good time. We ain't here for a long time on Friday. It's the tightest, hottest, fastest Friday wind down that you'll find anywhere in the metro, where we're giving you all the best information concerning local, state, and national politics, as well as touching some current events when we can. Right now, we are knee deep in having a conversation about what's happening with Capitol Police. Chris Williams says, so is it the mayor or the city council responsibility for this conversation? Well, I don't know whose responsibility it is directly, but let me tell you how I would handle it. If it was me, the first thing that I would do is I would send my chief to talk to their chief to begin the initial conversations about what that should, could, and ought to look like. I would task also the attorney who represents the police department to also work in tandem with whatever legal representation that they have at the Capitol, so that we could put together an MOU to then be presented to the city council. The city council would then review that MOU, have an opportunity through representative government to make decisions on behalf of the people as it relates to that MOU. But you got to have those things in place, because those are the things that put the guardrails there. How can we honestly, legitimately, genuinely have a real conversation about what Capitol Police are or are not doing, and we ain't even got a doggone MOU in place? It's crazy. It is as crazy as the doggone 1% sales tax commission spending money without a master plan being in place. I have no idea what's going on around here. Like, I'm literally living in the doggone Twilight Zone in the city of Jackson. I have no idea what's going on. I feel like Tina Turner in the beginning of the movie. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship. Abusive relationship. Like I wanna defend, I wanna be able to do that, but I can't, because we ain't got our stuff together. We ain't got our stuff together. What's going on, Brother Malcolm Johnson? Miss Tracy, what's happening? Tommy, what's good, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. I just look. This is how I live my life. Okay, I live my life. I believe that things can be both and. You can be a good person and do dumb stuff. Yeah, that is super duper possible. You can be a great daddy and a terrible husband, all in the same house. That is possible. You can also be a police department, whether it's JPD, the sheriff department, or whoever. You can be a great agency. You can have all of your accreditation. Y'all can do all of the training and all of that stuff. What's going on, bro, Tim? You can do all of that stuff and still have some things that you need to have dealt with, but you can only deal with it through structure. And in this case, that MOU is that structure. Let me get out of that. I wanted to deal with it because yesterday, that crime summit, sit down, talk, whatever it was real insulting to people that know better. All right? It was real insulting to people who genuinely want to live in a crime-free, in a safe city. Okay? Yep. I was insulted. Sure was. I was insulted. Now, on yesterday morning, the mayor had a big announcement. And he made this announcement. I look, today in 2023, everybody, it's all about grace and accountability. And I don't want y'all to be gaslit in 2023. There was an announcement yesterday that instead of $600 million, now the city was going to be getting right at $800 million for the water crisis. Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. In this bill that was voted on and passed in the Omni bill, this bill had $600 million. They've tacked on another $100 and something million. And the last time we were here, we talked about opportunities if that money was to hit the streets. Well, what I failed to tell you was that the city now has a third-party administrator. That money is going to flow through that third-party administrator, not through the city of Jackson. The mayor made his announcement, but he ain't had nothing to do with that. He ain't lobbied nobody. He ain't helped write no bills. He ain't had nothing to do with that. Nothing. He ain't had nothing to do with that. That wasn't a win. Okay? That wasn't a win. That's a bailout. A bailout ain't a win. All right? A win would have been had they moved sooner, like we was talking about last summer. Had the council and the mayor and all them moved sooner to opportunity for privatization. The same thing could have happened without federal interventions, without this whole issue with the consent decree, and without more lawsuits being filed. I said it because I said we don't have the capacity to do this. We don't have the expertise in place to do this. Let's get a third-party administrator. But see, in Jackson, privatization is a bad word. And I get it. I understand. But I've been in this game long enough. I know who it's a bad word too. Okay? But guess what we are now? Privatized. With no say-so. Nothing. No say-so. $800 million is getting ready to come to Jackson. And I am telling you right now, it ain't nailed chocolate drop that look like me and you. That look like us. When they get done with all of it, we may have 10%. We may stretch. We may. But because it's the state, and the state has a history of awarding less than 1% to black folks and minorities and women, then I wouldn't bank on it. But here we are. Here we are. And it's sad. It's sad commentary. You are absolutely right, Angela Grayson. We're in a leadership crisis. We're in a leadership crisis. When I looked at that panel yesterday, the only person that I trusted was the high sheriff. I was looking at him the whole time. I was waiting on him to, man, say something. Can you please? But after a while, the high sheriff wasn't even saying nothing, and I got it. I was like, you know what? I get it, because I'm looking at him, and he looked like he would rather be somewhere in South Jackson body slamming somebody who just broke in somebody's house. Now I'm being funny, and those of you who know, you know, all right? Because that did happen when he was on SWAT. Now, when there is some serious consideration of where we are, then we'll get serious about how we start picking leadership. We'll get serious about what we demand out of them. And we're going to get serious about asking the right people the right kinds of questions. At this money that's coming has nothing to do with the mayor. You need to thank Benny Thompson. You need to thank the Republican Wicker. You need to thank the Republican Cindy Hyde Smith. Those three. That's who you need to thank. They made that happen. They worked that out. Yeah, I know they ended up turning around. Yeah, I get all that. But they did that. Okay? So that wasn't a win. To be honest with you, it's really an indictment on your leadership when you got to be bailed out. I said what I said. And I will continue to do that right here at the buffet with Tony Yarber every Friday, 3 o'clock. Looking to see you here, same time, same place. God bless you. Call me if you want to sponsor. Real Spill 601.
Yeah. This is real spill, real deal, knockout Holyfield. This no kill bill, get real, we really on the field. Blood, sweat, and tears steady spill as we make the real. And no blocking shots, we always hot like Harden with the steel. We gon' rebound like we build, catching bombs like sorry kill. Hard work gonna make the meal, sticking body give me chills. Upper echelon, who? Young Lacey, Miles and Phil. Just some dapper duns, having fun while speaking on the real. Ayy, real spill, get your news here. Yeah, we top tier. And we ain't got no fear. Hey, what you wanna see? We gon' be on your TV. Catch us Monday back to Monday, bringing news right to your seat. And you know how it be. Yeah, you know how it be. Catch us Monday with the live. We've been prepping since like 5. Or just catch us on the podcast. You'll find it a real surprise. Cause it's real spill, real deal. Knockout Holyfield. There's no kill bill. Get real, we really on the field. Blood, sweat, and tears steady spill as we make the real. And no blocking shots. We always hot like Harden with the steel.
Hey, Phil, the marshmallows still gonna swell up, right?
We still talking about these marshmallows?
We still talking about it.
Come on, man. I'm not trying to hear that no more.
We gonna hear about it.
We're not.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, guys, settle down. Let's save it for the show. It's about to get real.
Done.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Real Spill 601, your favorite sports show. You got me, your host, Jan Nichols. We got Larry
Dion Lacey, man. Nah, that's Eric. That's Eric. This Dion.
We got Larry Lacey.
This Dion. That's Eric. You know what I'm talking about?
Boy, Larry Legend.
Dion Lacey, Eric.
It's been what, a week off?
A couple weeks, man. But hey, we back.
We back. We gotta talk about some things. There's been a lot of stuff going on.
First of all, make sure y'all call us in if you got any questions about the show. The number should be on the screen. You know what I'm saying?
Call-ins are now available. We back at it again with the call-ins. So first things first, man. We gotta talk about the NBA Finals. We haven't talked about it yet, and they've been waiting on Real Spill to speak on it. So here we go. The Golden State Warriors are now NBA champions once again as they beat Boston. The Boston Celtics at TD Garden, winning the series 4-2. Steph Curry won his first Finals MVP on the NBA Finals, and now is a 4-time champion. Lacey, what are your thoughts on this year's finals?
Well, I guess I gotta go first, man. Phil. Hey, but my take on this is I told y'all that the Warriors gonna win in 6. It was effortlessly win. You know what I'm saying?
Effortlessly.
Yes. Draymond and his podcast, they did the job. You know, I can't knock them. Clay and Steph said this wasn't going 7. Especially Steph Curry. And kudos to the Golden State Warriors. They played an amazing game, amazing series. They made sure that this game was not going to be in the wire, come down to the wire. And they played great basketball. Like, they was all the way sound-hearted, wanted to win this game. And I knew Curry was going to win MVP because, like I told my colleagues, that this series was a point to prove. Getting number 4, this was the point to prove that they can do it without KD, and they did it. They did do it without KD before he arrived, and that Steph and Clay is up there on that Mount Rushmore, especially Curry, is one of the top 10 players to ever play the game of basketball. So with this trade deadlines coming to shake up, man, it's gonna be an interesting basketball season when it comes back into season, but. Man, Boston, they didn't really give it at all, Game 6. I'm just going to keep it real. The Warriors jumped on them pretty quick and pretty early, and it was all they wrote. Curry was making lights-out shots. Clay and the supporting cast was playing quality basketball, and they won that ring. And they did not want to go back to Golden State for Game 7.
Right.
So they took care of business on the enemy's turf in hardwood. And they came back, and they came out victorious. So kudos to Golden State Warriors. I knew that was going to happen. I always said the Western Conference was going to win this series. Either it was going to be any team in the West, Memphis or the Warriors or Phoenix. They was going to take care of anybody in the East. And the Warriors came out on top, and they came out victorious. So I can't knock it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna dive into this finals. First off, this overall playoffs, the theme I feel like on this playoffs, what it showed was this: one, there was never really a true juggernaut in the playoffs. Most of the teams were all pretty good, had them maybe one or two stars, and the teams that lasted longer were the teams that had more depth. What won these playoffs, in my opinion, was continuity and defense. At the end of the day, most of these teams had strength in numbers, and the ones that got to the Eastern Conference Finals, West Conference Finals, and then to the NBA Finals, most of them had continuity. Most of these squads have been together. The core players have been together for about at least three to 4 plus years for most of these teams that lasted far this playoffs. And with the scheduler starting to get back to normal, even though they still was kind of a little weird scheduling with coming off of COVID, the teams that were deeper won. On the Warriors side, Steph Curry, he deserved the Finals MVP, averaged 30 throughout this series. I gotta give him his props. He's now a Finals MVP. But I've been hearing best point guard of all time.
No,
like that.
Not yet.
I can't give him that yet. I can't give him that. Not over Magic. I can't give him that. But
Magic got 4 rings. He got 5.
Magic got 5. But still,
we could for sure say that Chris Paul is not the best point guard of all time. We can for sure say that.
Yeah, but I don't think nobody was ever arguing that Chris Paul was the best point guard of all time. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole. They're all up for contract extensions. Andrew Wiggins proved
he earned his money. Andrew Wiggins earned his money.
He was that guy. Lacey, I will say this: the one thing you did have wrong was you doubted Andrew Wiggins a couple times in the playoffs.
I did.
You had 2 or 3 times you doubted on these playoffs. You weren't really with the Warriors at first either till they beat the Memphis Grizzlies.
By default. Like I said the Western Conference was going to come out victorious, regardless what team was coming out to represent the West.
I'll give you your props on that, but I mean, this is going to probably be controversial, but I'm going to still stand on it. I think that I honestly truly feel like if the Miami Heat had won against the Celtics, that they would have beaten the Warriors. What I think the reason I feel like the Celtics lost, and I'm going to go and get to the Celtics, is this. Immaturity, this was their first time in the NBA Finals, a big moment, big stage, and it showed. It showed with a lot of guys' intangibles. Hello?
Hey, man, all I got to say is, first off,
this is real spill?
This real spill, Phil?
Real spill, Phil.
You all cap, Lacey.
How you doing, Phil?
No way you gonna sit here and say every team after West could have beat Boston. There's only one team that could have beat Boston, and that was Golden State.
Hey, Phil, we not going to start this, Phil.
In their life, no. Memphis will never see. Memphis will never see a final.
Phil, we're not going to start this.
Especially with so-called defensive player of the year, Jaren Jackson on that team, you'll never see it. You'll never see that.
Look, young. We know one thing for sure. No. Let me talk. We know one thing for sure. Young gone fishing just like the other and the Pittsburgh Steelers. He gone fishing. Go on and have fun and go fishing. Get off the phone. I'm finna hear that.
No, I'm not getting off the phone. Boston. The Boston
go fishing.
They still young. They need a point guard. That's why I feel like it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen in the next couple of years. They're gonna find the right guy because that's all he needs. Tatum got it. He got it.
Brown got it too. You didn't say nothing about Brown.
Exactly. What? Brown, Smart, all of them. Horford too. So
Horford can't play.
Don't be trying to downplay the Celtics like. No. But don't be trying to downplay the Celtics like they just fire us.
I just said.
You said the Warriors, the Mavs, or the Grizzlies could have beat the Celtics in the finals.
You dang right. I said.
Hold on. I didn't
say the Mavs. I said.
I was making sure.
Phoenix, Memphis, and the Warriors for sure was going to beat the Celtics.
The Celtics? No.
If they would have represented the West.
No. Only the Warriors. The Warriors were the only team that
was the only team.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. Yeah, continue your take, please. Go fishing, Phil.
No, I'm on the phone.
Hey, Phil,
man.
you can ride out with us in segment, man. You can ride it out with us.
I'm here, man. I'm here.
Let me say this though. So what I feel like is this: when it came to the Celtics, was Jason Tatum. He struggled a little bit. The mentality, what he wanted to do was be great, but you could tell that kind of was getting in the way on his decisions. Some ways he wasn't kind of always fully sure on some of his moves. You can tell that. If you watched it, he was jumping a lot off one leg. Sometimes didn't have a plan for what he was doing, which was causing turnovers. And the Warriors finally exposed what Phil alluded to was not having a point guard. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they're really, and what I started seeing was they were playing they still were playing kind of a lot of isolation. They only started getting leads was when they did what?
You get another call, ain't it?
Sound like it.
We get another call, Mount?
All right. But, yeah, so if you saw that, they were really kind of starting doing a lot of isolation. The only time they made runs was when the ball was moving. Al Horford was getting into it. Marcus Smart was getting into it. A lot of guys were scoring all together, and they were scoring more so in team-oriented styles. But Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year, but we see he's not really a true point guard. He only averaged, I think, like 3-4 assists these finals, and that's just not going to cut it. Being a point guard, you've got to initiate the offense, and he didn't do that this series, in my opinion. But with Jason Tatum is
pick up the phone. Hello?
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 Yes.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Hey, my thing is this. Real Smith Field need to go fishing like Lacey said. Look, Lacey called it. He's the only one that said that the Western Conference was going to win. I know the episode and everything. I was telling them all along that
yes, he do. Yes, he do.
And Lacey called it.
So, real quick, do you agree with what he's just said, though? He said if the Grizzlies or the Suns, you said the Mavs, too?
No, I didn't say the Mavs.
He said the Grizzlies or the Suns would beat the Celtics. Do you agree with that?
Phoenix couldn't beat the Mavs,
exactly.
So they can't beat Boston. And I thought they were my favorites to win it all, and they couldn't do it. But the only team that could beat Boston was the Warriors out of the West.
Was Golden State.
But Boston should have lost in the Eastern Conference semifinals.
Well,
that's 7-game series.
That was against the Bucks.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if it was a fully healthy Bucks squad, they probably would have beaten them. But
that's what I'm saying. They won 7 games, and they ain't even have the second best player.
They should have lost in the Eastern Conference Finals for sure, though. We were just one shot.
But that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to call in and give them that comment.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. They love to hate me on this show a little bit.
All right. Shout out to Pops.
We can hear good on these headphones. These headphones, good quality.
Also, with Jason Tatum, real quick, I know people have been trying to somewhat slander his name and whatnot, but this is not something that's new that we haven't seen before. Multiple guys have struggled in their first 1 or 2 finals when they've gotten there. A lot of great all-time
sending players.
I'm losing my mind, but great players have struggled throughout. Kobe Bryant only averaged 36.9% field goal percentage his first finals when he played with Shaq. Their very first finals. That's really the exact field goal percentage Jason Tatum averaged this finals. LeBron James got swept his first finals, and then we know what happened year 2 with the Dallas Mavericks. If they would have beaten him, he would not have won Finals MVP. Dwayne Wade would have won it. He averaged, I think, 27 that year.
I feel they gave Dirk that ring. I'm going to be real with you. They sold out. They sold out like Cam Newton.
We're going to be real. You had Magic Johnson. They were calling him Tragic Johnson against, I believe that's against the Philadelphia 76ers. So you've seen a lot of great players, all-time greats, legends. They've struggled in the finals. It's okay to have that learning curve. Now, how do you respond is the question. Do you go like Devin Booker, who did not get the job done last year and then come out and put a sticker up second round against the Dallas Mavericks and don't prove that he's a superstar? Or do you respond and continue to play well? Because at the end of the day, Jason Tatum had a great playoffs. He still had a great playoffs.
But the finals, was
probably his worst. Was his worst series of the playoffs. Really, was his worst series in a long time. If you really look into it, Jason Tatum has been a solid playoff performer. Really, almost just about all of his career. Wherever the role that he was asked to do, he fulfilled his job just about every series that he played. Yes, he didn't always come up on top, but Jason Tatum always seemed to prove that he could play at an elite level on most of his playoff career. So at the end of the day, I think what just killed him was experience. Boston, in my opinion, was clearly the better team. It's just the Warriors.
The Warriors?
Had that. Yes, I think team wise they were the better team. It's just the experience.
Defensive wise, I can say that, but the Warriors just shot the ball well.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Though experience came into play. That's when intangibles, things like that, all come into play. Championship pedigree. What is known that needs to be known to win a championship? The thing that the Warriors know to win a championship. The citizens
they had that championship mentality. The Warriors been together. The big three been together for
and that's what I'm
a long sum of years. So they know how to win championships and what it takes.
So at the end of the day, I think experience is really what played a big part in them winning that series. And I mean, hey, kudos to Steph and those guys.
They're not winning next year.
They are not my lock to go back.
They're not winning next year.
There are a lot of betting favorites, but I am not. They are not my lock to go back though.
Hey, they gotta go to them trenches in the M. That's all I gotta say.
Memphis is not.
They gotta go to them trenches. And if they mess around and get KD, I'm not a big KD fan, up and down, but hey,
I don't see it.
I might be a rider, guys.
But after the break, we're going to stay in the association and we're going to go into this Kyrie Irving drama with the Brooklyn Nets.
The Mississippi Link is an African American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Welcome back, everybody. Staying with the association. Oh, okay, yeah, we good. Staying with the association. Some things have just kind of taken place before the show started, but still, on June 29th was the last day that Kyrie Irving could choose to opt into his player option with the Brooklyn Nets. He has now decided to do so. He has opted into his Brooklyn Nets year contract. The sources said that he is willing to play with the Nets for this next season for his last yearly contract with the Brooklyn Nets, and I guess move forward from there. But there is still somewhat of information that he could be traded. Now, there were rumblings with the Brooklyn Nets as Kyrie Irving and Brooklyn Nets were currently at some point reportedly to be at an impasse. Kyrie Irving also listed out a number of teams that he felt were viable for him to be traded to or signing to as a free agent, supposed as the reports have said. Those teams included some teams such as the Los Angeles Lakers and the Clippers. But at the end of the day, with Kyrie Irving still signing his player option, there's still a sense that he could still be traded either before the trade deadline or sometimes still this offseason. So I want to ask you, Lacey, can you see Kyrie Irving leaving to play for another team?
I really think nobody want him. Nobody want Kyrie. He's baggage. Let's just be real. He's a phenomenal basketball player. Can put the ball in the hoop and score at will against anybody, any given time. Uncle Drew. I miss Uncle Drew.
Yeah.
I don't miss Kyrie. I miss Uncle Drew.
Right.
I'm gonna keep it a book. But he like Aaron Rodgers. Outside the court, when that ball is not in his hand, he go berserk.
Yeah.
He's a maniac. I'm gonna be real. He's a maniac. He loses his mind and just say whatever, do whatever.
Right.
Bruce Gigolo. I'm just gonna be real.
Man, what?
Hey, I'm just gonna be real. But so if LeBron give him a second chance and he go to LA, he gonna be on a short leash.
Yeah.
Short leash. Because LeBron not gonna have this go round. He's not. He's trying to win LeBron's trying to win a ring.
Right, yeah.
He's not gonna have it. And he gonna have 2 prima donnas if he goes to LA. Because that's the only team that want him.
Yeah.
He gonna have Anthony Davis got to deal with and Kyrie.
Yeah.
And don't forget about Russ. Somebody's gonna get traded.
Yeah, they probably
if it's Russ,
they wouldn't better keep off.
Melo is gone.
Melo, they say he's waiting to see sign an extension or something. I heard saw with the Lakers.
What has he done? What has Melo done?
Hey, that's neither here or there. I mean,
so LeBron, he's already getting a little ball spots. You know what I'm saying? He messing around, get Kyrie back, and Anthony Davis. He might well cut it all off. No black spray, no nothing, because he gonna have stressful days and nights with those 2 guys on his team. In LA, what perfect setting? LA with prima donnas.
Yeah.
Another soap opera. Kyrie's running from the smoke. Simple as that. He ran from the smoke in Boston. He ran from the smoke at Cleveland, and he's running from the smoke in Brooklyn. He do not know how to take adversity well. He got your boy KD with him. A living bag. He want the heart and the will to win at any given moment. And Kyrie continue to fold every given moment. He folded, he folds. Kyrie, get your act together or you will be out the league. Or he gonna be with a team that he don't want to be at, and he just gonna be doing whatever he want. He gonna go somewhere with like the Kings or the Magic. It's a rebuilding program.
Right.
Or Detroit. It's gonna be rebuilding, and he's not gonna be happy there. He might retire. So Kyrie, this is gonna be the last straw, really, in my eyes.
Yeah, I feel you.
So I don't know what he need to do. Go meditate, go do whatever, but please get your act together. I want the Uncle Drew back, cause when your heart is in the game, he's phenomenal and unstoppable.
Fact.
But when he gets to talking and doing outrageous stuff, that's when he lost me, man. So if he was to go to LA, and LA needs something, because LeBron got it, but if he got to deal with AD and Russ and Kyrie, and they ain't got their mind on the basketball, and they got their mind on LA, it's gonna be a long, long year. And another Stephen A. and all these other guys talking about the Lakers should have did this, woulda, coulda, shouldas, man. Yeah. Let's just be real, woulda, coulda, shouldas.
Woulda, coulda, shouldas.
Hey, I'm speaking some gems now. So, but it can go either ways with that.
Right.
If it falls on 7-11, that means the Lakers will have a good year. It all start with Kyrie. So if LeBron just say, I want you to come, they gotta have a long sit down.
Right.
Like a heart to heart with all the guys. AD too.
Yeah. Right.
A heart to heart on what it's gonna be. Cause LeBron said it in the tweet. He said this is gonna be the last time he's missing the playoffs.
Yeah, he said.
And when LeBron, I feel like he meant that. He's standing on it, you know. And I know I criticize LeBron a lot, but I think he really meant that, cause he don't like being at the house chilling.
Nope.
So he's seeking another ring, man. He's ring chasing. So if he can get Kyrie talent on the Lakers, so be it. He gonna have to sit there and talk to him like, this not gonna be Cleveland Kyrie.
Yeah.
In their ego, this got to be a new Kyrie.
Right.
Real spill.
Yeah, man. First off, I just want to say, man, wow. Like, when Katie and Kyrie first signed, like, who would have thought we've gotten put into this point at here?
And they shred the papers on this, man.
Even when James Harden signed, like, who would have guessed that we would have gotten to this point to where they could possibly, the Brooklyn Nets could possibly be without a
lottery team.
This is almost, in my opinion, almost as worse as the Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett trade that they made years ago, where Danny Ainge took a whole bunch of picks and those ended up turning to be Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and things like that. But man, I mean, the Nets really botched this one. And it at the end of the day, really all as bad as it looked, it all falls, in my opinion, on the shoulders of Kyrie Irving. Both sides have things to lose. Before Kyrie Irving opted into his contract, first off, Kyrie Irving, his last set deal, which he opted into, was like $37.4 million. The reason why I personally could not see him leaving for another team is because the reason why he was leaving was because of the amount of money that they were offering him. They basically told him either opt in on the deal or take a shorter contract extension, maybe a 2-year extension, somewhat what the Sixers are, I think, offering James Harden, or maybe just even a 1+1 deal because of availability. Because I mean, let's just look at it through these lens. For this show, say I told Lacey, hey, I'm in here for the long haul. We doing this till the wheels fall off. And I just sum up out of one day, just picked it's something going on. I just can't make it to a couple shows for this upcoming month. I don't do it. Then when COVID comes, we have to be vaccinated. And I say, nah, I'm not gonna be vaccinated. And I decide not to come to the show. I just try to do what I can outside the lens and just see where it goes. I don't care, how this may affect the show. I can't come and then look for a certain level of money if I haven't put in a certain level of respect and work into my craft. Like at the end of the day, that's what it was availability, and that is one of the biggest assets in my opinion is availability. If you're not available, no matter how good you are with whatever your craft or your job is, they're not going to respect you if you're not available. At the end of the day, something that people always want to know is that he always comes to work, or he or she always
put his hard head on.
Always put in their work. When it comes to even when it comes to interpersonal relationships, personal relationships, or work-related relationships, if you are not available, it's not going to get the job done. But back to it with the money side of everything, Kyrie Irving's looking for like a $247 million extension, 5 years. Basically kind of getting them to around $50 million a year after this.
If he plays, he'll earn it.
After this last year. But the problem is that Kyrie Irving, over the last 3 seasons, has only played an average of 35 games a season. Out of 82, 70 game type season in the last 3 seasons, he's only played on average 35 per season, even though it's not broken down like that. Just on the number that he played, it's like around 35 per season, and that's just not gonna get it. But for Kyrie to go somewhere else, like say the Lakers, which a lot of people were talking to me about the Lakers, telling me they feel like he was gonna sign there, but I had to say I had to see it happen because one, the Lakers don't really have any assets the Nets want. I didn't see a Kyrie Irving, Russell Westbrook trade. I didn't see an Anthony Davis trade. I didn't see anything in which the Lakers could have still been championship viable contenders and sent a trade package that would be cool for the Nets to do a sign and trade. So the only way Kyrie could do it was to opt out his contract and sign a vet minimum of $6 million, where then he will lose out on at least $30 million from his opting in contract year. So basically, he will miss out on $30 million for a 6-year, 1-year deal. And with Kyrie Irving, there's also, availability, and also he's also somewhat injury prone. Kyrie Irving has gotten hurt just about the last 3 or 4 plus seasons. And at the end of the day, that also comes into play with availability. So how smart would he be to take a deal that is not really secured for the future long run with being a long-term deal, then missing out on $30 million? I just didn't see it because at the end of the day, this was about money. So then when it comes to other teams, like I said, nobody else, as reports have said, nobody else wanted him. His market value was not high due to what? Availability. He was what you call a wild card. You don't know when you got a wild card, you don't know what may happen. And do you want to gamble or risk your franchise's future on a guy that you don't know
waste money
if he's fully invested? He's putting out quotes saying there are things to him that are more important than basketball. He has put out signs that if certain things are to take place, he'll walk away. He's even stated sometimes that he would walk away from the game if certain things were to present itself. So at the end of the day, the market value for Kyrie Irving was low. So I think he had no choice but to opt in. Do I still see a team signing and trading for him? No, I do not. Well, the viable teams, when it comes to like the Los Angeles Lakers, that's probably the only team that probably really wanted him, such as the reports have also suggested. And I don't see it because they do not want any assets the Lakers have. The Lakers don't really have any more first round picks like that. They have one that they're holding.
Russ been downgraded, so they don't want to sign and trade with Russ.
They don't want to sign and trade for it. They don't want to do any type of sign and trade. But at the end of the day, all that would be your problem for my problem. And I don't think that's what the Nets are trying to do. At the end of the day, I think Kyrie Irving had less leverage than the Brooklyn Nets. Both of them had something to lose, but I just didn't see Kyrie Irving walking away from $30 million. in my opinion, he'd be a fool to walk away for $30 million. Like, at the end of the day, you know, basketball is basketball, but, you know, as you see, Kyrie Irving is still about his money. That's why he opted in. If he was so deeply rooted into his convictions, then he would decide to opt out, play on a 6-year deal, which would probably not be the safest option, but play on a 6-year deal on whatever contending team that he could possibly sign for. But no team other than the Lakers were going to give him a long-term deal. No team was going to give him a long-term deal. Through his history, he has not proven to be reliable when it comes to being long-term. Like Lacey just limited to earlier, he burned his way out of Cleveland, burned his way out of Boston, and he almost burned his way out of Brooklyn. Each of these teams, he's just about somewhat made promises that he'd stay long-term. We know the infamous stadium talk when he was in TD Garden saying he'll stay here if they'll have him. Where did what happened? That same exact season after that, he left and went on to Brooklyn. He's eliminated multiple times. He's riding with KD till the wheels fall off, basically. 7-11. But now when it comes to a point of because of his availability, he's almost was willing to risk leaving KD by himself stranded with the Brooklyn Nets to try to just to prove his point because he has not been available. So I just think that at the end of the day, I think Kyrie Irving didn't have a lot of leverage, and I still don't see him. I see him playing this last year all the way out in his contract.
I don't know, man, because KD talking about leaving too.
The only way is this, if KD decides if KD still looks at the situation and be like, nah, I'm out, then they'll still send both of them out, I think. Because I think once KD leaves, they're getting Kyrie off the books. They don't want nothing to do with Kyrie. I don't think.
Kyrie might not play.
And, I think it might not be a contending team that Kyrie Irving gets moved to. He does not have a no trade clause. They could trade him anywhere where they find the most valuable amount of assets to trade for him. Certain small market teams might trade for him.
They might trade to Charlotte.
Box office draw, and then he's also an expiring contract deal. So after that year, that expiring contract is off your books, and then you have cap space to maybe sign larger deals for bigger stars in the upcoming summers. So I feel like it rides on KD and a little bit maybe Kyrie. If Kyrie goes overboard and does something crazy at the first half of this season, then I think by trade deadline, then they'll get him out of there. But honestly, in my opinion, I don't see that happening. I think now that the Kyrie Irving opted in, he's riding with KD this last year. And KD, he's already signed a 4-year extension. So until he just, demands out, he's with the Nets. So I don't really see them disbanding this year. I think this year we're going to see Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant for the whole season.
You gotta wait and see, but
I mean, you never know.
It's gonna be an interesting NBA off season with these trade deadlines.
It starts June 30th. After June 29th, when players opt in, it starts June 30th. After the break, we're gonna be talking about Arch Manning signing with the Longhorns.
SGECOVIDsolutions.com is paving the way forward for a safer city government delivering cutting-edge biosecurity and biosafety protocols developed internationally by top virologists and scientists using an all-natural cleaning solution, killing COVID-19 on contact like no other product on the international market. For more information, please call 1-800-281-9080 or visit us online at SGECOVIDsolutions.com. Let SGECOVIDsolutions.com provide innovative rapid facilities testing and world-class state-of-the-art biorisk safety protocols for all of your coronavirus needs. Call 1-800-281-9080 or visit us online at SGECOVIDsolutions.com.
Welcome back, everybody. Moving towards college football. Arch Manning, the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning, has decided to commit to the University of Texas Longhorns. Some are surprised to see that Arch Manning decided to pick Texas with the draw of Ole Miss, the history that his family has had, and maybe with Peyton going to Tennessee. Starting off, asking each other both, were you surprised that Arch Manning decided to sign with Texas? Yes and no. I know that's kind of wishy-washy, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, Arch Manning, he seems to be a talent. He seems to be a talent from what we've seen and with his high school clips. The Manning family, first off, is they're, like many people say, they're about their business. Everything they do, they seem to excel in. We all know Archie Manning, legend, Saints legend, great quarterback. Ole Miss legend. Arch's actual dad, Cooper Manning, who played I want to say receiver for Ole Miss. Injury derailed him, and that's what kept him, I think, from actually being able to succeed and make it to the next level. But Cooper Manning, he knows his football. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, I think their resumes speak for themselves. We know what they're about. And what I was kind of surprised about, because when Arch Manning was getting close to the end of his high school, there were a lot of rumblings already that Ole Miss was his favorite. I guess maybe due to the lineage of his family, with his dad going there, his grandfather going there, and his uncle going there with Eli, Archie, and Cooper. But that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that Ole Miss was going to get back on the map. I'm not going to lie. I think Arch Manning is the real deal. I don't think there's anything to kind of just think that he wouldn't be the real deal. I think Peyton and Eli are giving them as much information as they can throughout the small career he has had so far, which is why has been so successful. It's because he's a Manning. And I thought that, I was thinking, man, Ole Miss might get back on the map. You put them in the SEC with Ole Miss, they got a chance. They probably won't win it all this year, but it's
going to be an attraction.
He's going to definitely be an attraction, and then hopefully with him they can start building recruiting classes that would be more valuable for him to move on in the future until his junior year. He's probably out there his junior year, his third year.
Sure.
Once he's eligible to leave, I think he's going to the league. But as far as every other team, Payton decided to go his own way. He wanted to build his own name, and that's what it seems like Arch is trying to do by going to Texas. But at the end of the day, I think what really swayed him was Steve Sarkisian, NFL coach who runs an NFL-type offense. And I think that was really the biggest reason why Arch Manning
coached at Washington, California, Alabama, USC. I think
that's really was the biggest reason why he decided to go there. If you look at Steve Sarkisian's resume, his quarterbacks go to the league. All his most of his quarterbacks when he get them, they're going to the league, and they're used to running NFL type offenses. Now this is a big one for Texas, because Texas hasn't been on the map in a while.
Since Vince Young.
Vince Young, really.
Let's just be real.
No, honestly, it really since Vince Young. And Arch may have something to say about trying to become the best quarterback in Texas history, but this is big, because I think the Texans were like 5-7 last year, or something like that. Like Texas hasn't really just been.
They haven't had a solid quarterback since Colt McCoy.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, and I think the reason why Peyton and them probably stayed away, but discussed with them, like this is. At the end of the day, Arch isn't looking about college football. I think we all know his biggest goal is to get into the NFL, which is the league. And I think what this is here is for him to prepare for the league. Make sure that he's already comfortable running NFL type sets and offenses, seeing certain things and getting his mind ready for that next step, so he can still continue to hit the ground running and play at an elite level when he gets to the NFL. He doesn't really. It's going to be learning curves, but I don't think he wants to have long learning curves. I think Arch, as long as he is willing to, his family's going to stand behind him, and he's going to continue to rise to levels to where once he gets to the NFL, he's going to be one of these young rising star type quarterbacks where you can already know he's like that. When it comes to the Joe Burrows, the Justin Herberts, guys like that, we already know are the real deal. And so I just think at the end of the day, what really was the biggest part of that was just to be able to play on an NFL type offense. And then I think one thing I wonder on is, how big do the NIL deal is? How big do you think this NIL deal
I was going to say that in my take.
No, we know the Mannings are not strapped for cash. Bank Plus, all these things, man. With us in Mississippi, we've seen the Mannings in their endorsements. They're making their money. They're
not hurting for nothing.
They're not strapped for cash. But I'm gonna
be real. I think this is the biggest NIL deal ever. I'm just gonna keep it buck. It's under wraps right now.
But it might be 7.
The reason why he didn't go to Tennessee is because the Samoan is a 5-star quarterback. He's a Hawaiian Samoan. It's worth $8 million in Tennessee. That's why he didn't go to Tennessee.
And
we know about Alabama powerhouses. They can get anybody they want. But don't get me wrong. Arch Manning is like that. He's like that.
They said at one point though, it's probably his second best option that he was looking for was actually Georgia. He was looking at Georgia. He was going to go to Georgia. It probably been a nice one, but he probably wanted to run more, not more so a college offense, but probably wanted the NFL style offense. But that's why I just wonder. And as you see, like we discussed probably like 3 shows ago with these NIL deals, Texas is going to start getting on the map. They have the most amount of
boosters.
NILs
No,
money.
They have boosters.
They've been had boosters.
It's Texas.
The state money they have and the NIL deals they can create because of how big and what Texas state is. They're going to be able to offer these guys more. Hence why these Texas schools are not getting these stars. And back to what I was saying, that's why I said Nick Saban said it is because there's a lot of unknowns.
Yep,
and if you got more, if you got more, you can do what you can and make it work.
We all know what time it is, man. The Mannings are a business family.
Yeah,
we all know Texas, the University of Texas and the University of Mississippi. Don't get me wrong, Ole Miss has the bread, but if you think I'm not going to the University of Texas, and he's a Manning, and you going not A&M, not Tennessee, Texas Tech, right, not Houston, you are going to Hook 'em Horns. Hey, they got bread.
Yeah,
they ain't got the Ole Miss bread. They have Texas bread, and it was a perfect business play. And second of all, guess where Oklahoma and Texas going to?
They are moving to the SEC.
They are moving to
this year,
the SEC when he become a freshman. Yeah. They are moving to the SEC. So you playing with the guys. You playing with the big dogs. Alabamas, LSU's, Florida's, Georgia's.
And I think
that's another play in the point. They want to start a legacy and they want to build Texas up.
Right.
Now they ain't want to wait. They want to be like how Missouri and the other guys when they came into it. We going out the door. We going to the SEC championship.
Right.
Out the door. That's another reason they played a part. SEC and you Texas, and he's a Manning. Don't get me wrong. Everybody thought he was gonna go to Ole Miss because how it tied up. You know, Ole Miss had a big. They were going. Man, he was gonna be Hollywood. Man, he was gonna be Hollywood. Of course, he was gonna be like Justin Bieber at Ole Miss.
Yeah, you know, he was gonna be the biggest thing walking at Ole Miss.
He's the biggest thing walking in Texas too.
Yeah, he's basically the biggest thing walking in Texas too, though.
Y'all thought
but he probably nationally, as far as being more so a national brand, Texas was the better spot.
The better brand.
That was the better
brand.
Spot, yeah.
Texas is the showcase. Old money wins money.
Yeah, no, Texas, he gonna.
Let's just be real. They outbid Ole Miss. We gonna be real. Texas outbid Ole Miss by a landslide. They couldn't keep. Ole Miss couldn't keep up with Texas.
No,
we just gonna be real.
Any Mississippi school's not gonna keep.
We just keep it real. Texas gonna hit the ground running, ready to ball. They know when he going to Texas, recruits finna pick up at Texas, and they're not gonna be the same Texas we saw the previous 6 years. Right. It's gonna be a new Texas, and they gonna let the SEC know that hey, we going back to them big young days.
Right, and I think that's what kind of probably played a part in them deciding to go into the SEC was once these NILs opened up, they knew that they were going to start being able to have a more plethora of resources to get these players to start playing for their schools, and
that's the mecca.
The only thing with Texas though is this though. His freshman year, I think he's still gonna be a draw. It's just gonna be an attraction. They're gonna be good. They're going. I don't think they're gonna be. This
don't be burnt out like Shea Patterson.
We're going to see. We're going to see flashes. We're going to see flashes of how great this kid probably is, which I think that he is. We're going to see that he's like that.
Oh, them men is gonna get him ready.
Yeah,
they're gonna get him ready.
Like,
born leader. He's gonna be a born leader. Day one.
There is very small doubt in my mind that he's going to fold in this situation. I think he's going to come out. His sophomore year, he's probably gonna make a run for the Heisman.
He's coming out the gate like Shador.
Yeah, he's gonna hit the ground running. And but the only thing is with Texas is this. Their first year with him, I don't think they're gonna be contending.
I don't think it's gonna be no bumps and bruises. He gonna come in like Trevor Lawrence, man. I'm gonna be real.
But you gotta think about it though. When Trevor Lawrence came in, he had a squad. Texas is still building that squad now. Maybe his sophomore year when they can start getting more recruits, and maybe even that it may take to their junior year to where they have a full, complete team to actually make a run for it. Because at the end of the day, they gotta respect. SEC is still not. Let's not take this lightly. The SEC is still the best college football division there is in college football. What Alabama and Georgia represent is no joke. Then you can't sleep on the LSU,
the Tier 2s, Auburn's, A&M's. Oklahoma.
Yeah, like SEC is no joke. You got to come with it every week.
Every game, it's a battle.
Even if their record doesn't show that they're a good team, you come in sleeping.
You get upset.
Knock you out.
You gonna get upset.
Yeah, they'll knock you out. The SEC is not.
The only team you should fold is Vanderbilt.
It's not a game. Yeah. I mean, sorry. Shout out to the sis, but yeah, Vandy.
That's the only team. It's an easy cupcake. It's like Greenville Western.
But
be real,
man. But yeah, like at the end of the day, just like they alluded to with the SEC and how it is the playing style it is with him being an NFL type offense, seeing mostly where most I think NFL defensive players are coming from in the SEC, he's going to see a lot of good defenses. Learn certain things that he needs to know moving forward when he moves to that next level. And I think all this is just another launching pad for him. They know that he's going to be league ready at the end of the day. He has the Manning stamp of approval. There's no doubt in my mind.
He's league bound. He's going to be like Shaq's son. Even if you don't do well, you're going to the league.
Hey,
I'm going to keep it in a buck.
Hold on now.
I'm staying on it.
Let's remember now, Sharif just came
I know. But I'm saying, if he don't do well, he's going to be just like Shaq. So he's going to the league regardless.
But I will say this though. When it comes to I feel like it's gonna be probably NFL recruits already watching him once he sets foot in that facility. They're gonna be watching his practices as from a freshman until his junior year. I think teams are going to keep a close eye for him by his junior year.
No doubt they send him up to win the Heisman. No doubt.
Yeah, I see him making a run for that Heisman by his junior year. I don't think there's no doubt in my mind that there's going to be a lot of tanking for arts, just like there were, in certain years they've tanked for, Trevor Lawrence.
A lot of pressure going to be on Steve Sarkisian because, hey, look, let me be real. If you don't do well, you're getting out of there to get Lane Kiffin. Simple as that. I call it. I'm calling it. He have a scrubby year. They're going to get Lane Kiffin. He's the offensive guru.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And Lane Kiffin ain't scared to leave no powerhouse to go to another powerhouse. We done seen the timeout.
Yeah, Lane isn't, but he just moving to another situation. I don't know. I just can't see him doing it right now. Maybe
giving him Lane Kiffin by his bread. You're getting the right money. He's running over there.
I mean, yeah, I guess
Texas is bigger. What I just said, Texas is bigger than Ole Miss. Steve Sarkisian, you was on the hot seat, coming at the door. I'm standing up for real.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be some pressure on Steve though. If they don't show a certain level,
they're going to get Lane Kiffin. I'm telling you.
Well, one thing they can't do, they can't go 5-7. They cannot have. They can't go 5-7. The first.
They gonna give him a 2-year trial.
He has to have at least a winning type record or 500, where they've snuck a couple of wins off of some powerhouse type teams to where they can continue to move forward with Steve. Because I mean, yes, we know he knows his football. The numbers, the X's and O's. He's clearly ahead of the game. At the end of the day, he knows more football than we probably know in his finger. But if he's not getting that job done, they're going to have to look at his
They're going to get Lane Kiffin,
and they're going to probably ship him out. I'm not going to say Lane.
Our damn money. They're going to get somebody.
They will look to move and get somebody else.
He's going to get bounced.
Offensive oriented or something like that. They can get Arch to play at the best of his ability. Because at the end of the day, when you sign a kid like this, especially to probably the amount of NIL money they just did, it's only one thing they got on their mind.
He probably got the biggest NIL deal in history. Watch it.
Now, the numbers have yet to be reported on that NIL deal, but I'm pretty sure it ain't
no
6.
cupcake.
It ain't lower than 6. I ain't gonna lie to you.
If that Samoan got $8 million from Tennessee, if that Samoan got $8 million from Tennessee, he's probably seeing 12. Yeah, maybe 15.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like he's seeing about 7 though, at least 7 though for sure.
Could you say
but I don't think that I don't think that Texas should look to be like, SEC championship first year, but I think they're going.
What you mean? Missouri came at the door.
I don't
SEC.
I don't see it.
Championship game. They lost Alabama, but they came in at the door.
But I don't. I mean,
Texas A&M.
If so,
with Johnny Manziel,
this kid is something special. Then he's something special. Then, but I don't think it's because of the quarterback. I think it's because of the surrounding pieces. They don't yet have the athletes needed to, I think, for them to win it all. Because at the end of the day, last year what we saw was that the team with the more depth won. It didn't matter about. It wasn't also all about coaching. It was depth. Georgia had more depth when they beat Alabama in the championship game. But you guys know how we do it. Last segment after the break, HBCU swag topic. We talking about P. Diddy giving that $1 million after Howard at Jackson State.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into MDOT grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using SocratesGarrettENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
Welcome back, everybody. You guys know how we do this. SWAC HBCU, last topic of the day. We started off last night on the BET Awards. P. Diddy spoke on him donating $1 million to Jackson State University and Howard University. I'm going to start off, Lacey, cut you off some slack, but I'm going to say, how big was it for P. Diddy to donate $1 million to these schools? So, first off, on the impact, this is big. BET Awards, they're not as big, in my opinion, how they used to be. As far as the BET Awards show, I'm not going to speak on all of that, but it really wasn't all that to me. I really didn't watch it. I really didn't watch it.
I so happen to change the channel. I see P. Diddy say, Jet State, Howard, you get a meal.
I really didn't watch it like that. I mean, I started watching the BET Awards a while ago.
I used to watch it every year, but I didn't watch it this year.
I think they've lost a certain level of elegance when it comes to BET Awards.
They lost class. They lost class.
They lost a lot when as the years have gone by. It's just not the same.
BET fell off.
It's just not the same.
They fell off.
But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, man, this is big. $1 million to these schools. It's gonna be big to see what they do with that money. But I'm gonna probably sound like I'm hating a little bit. But this is what all I want to say is this though, man. These are arguably the two most known schools.
Tier 1.
Probably the two most known.
Let's be real. They are Tier 1.
The two most known schools right now in the nation when it comes to HBCUs. But I just gotta say this, man. God, where is the love for the other schools at, man? We continuously see Jackson State, Howard, they sending money.
FAMU, Southern.
Donate.
I'm name dropping. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, but where's the love for the Alcorns, the Valleys? They do a little bit for
Benedict,
Southern, but
Langston, these small HBCUs.
Where are these small HBCUs? Where's the appreciation?
Miles College.
The national attention is always on these big schools, and they talking about they're doing everything they can for these HBCUs. Which, granted, I still welcome and appreciate the thing that they're doing, because at the end of the day, this is still helping us move to that vision where HBCUs and SWACs are back on the top of things and are looking eye to eye with these big SECs, ACC, and all these other schools when it comes to just prestige and everything.
And where's this money going to?
And I'm gonna get that too. But I'm just like, man, where is the love at for the other schools at? And yes, I am a product of Alcorn State when it comes to undergrad, but I just want to know, when are we going to start seeing people take the stand and commit and do certain serviceable acts to these other HBCU schools? Because I don't think that we're getting that there's highlighting enough light. Yes,
this school going broke.
I'm glad.
Let's be real. This school going broke.
I'm glad Jackson State is receiving their money. We know Deion probably had something to play for it. Not to play in that. Not far so as himself, but because of the light that he has shown onto that school. But where is the love at for the other schools? That's one of my big
Where's
things.
the love at for these Tier 4, Tier 3 HBCUs that needs it?
And second off, it's just going to be interesting to see what do they do with this money. Now, I'm not
going straight to football program.
I'm just speaking off experiences. Sometimes administrations don't do right when they donate that money. I've seen it. Lacey have seen it. We've seen it multiple times where, I don't know what they're doing with that money, but it's not going towards, I think, the benefit of the students. Now, I may be wrong. I might not see the numbers and I'm not in those meetings when they conduct it. But from the outside looking in, it does not. More times than not, for me, the student consistency of students on the campuses, they feel like that the money isn't going towards something that's beneficial for them. And I think that should be when these people donate that type of money or whatever the donations they may be, that the first priority should be the students. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I think when it comes to the money for the football team, I don't think there's gonna be no problems with that. I don't think whatever their cut is, it's gonna go there. I think Deion ain't gonna get his. When it comes to anything for football money wise, I think they're going to pay that.
We all know the football program. The football program is straight.
Yeah, I think they're going to write that check.
Can this money go towards the academic side?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
The dormitory side or something. Come on now.
Right.
Like, I ain't gonna even do it.
Go ahead, bro. You go ahead, though. I'm good, though.
I'm not gonna even do it. I'm not gonna even do it.
Say what you gotta say, man.
Man, it schools is piss poor out there. I hate to say it.
Yeah, no.
It looks horrible.
No, it looks bad.
Y'all must forgot. Hines and Utica and Kahoma, they are HBCUs.
I mean,
they are HBCUs.
Yes, but
it is tier 3 and 4 schools. Okay, like Benedict, Caffin, Langston.
I mean,
Russ College, Tougaloo. Tougaloo ain't hurting on no money. Let's just be real.
Tougaloo,
no.
I mean, Tougaloo got that private. They more private.
But it's schools they can't keep the doors open. They just opened up Morris Brown and they finna get them loads of money.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. They finna get them loads of money. But it's schools like, I hate to say it. I love the Delta. But it's schools like Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, I think the Valley people probably
it's schools like
hating on them.
I'm not hating on you, Valley. It's schools like Valley, bro. My cousin go to Valley.
Yeah.
It is sad, bro. It is sad at Valley State, bro. And they're not getting no donations. Not even Jerry Rice.
Right.
Hey, I'm gonna knock Alcorn. It's sad at Alcorn. It is sad at Lot.
Right.
What?
Yo, no, I ain't gonna
lie. It is
Lot,
sad. Robinson, Rebels, Burris. I didn't see. Hey, I'm not name drop other schools. It is sad. I'm going to Jackson State. It is sad at Alexander. It is sad at McAllister. It's real. It is. I swear I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing. I'm not lying. Right. It is sad at the Palisades, man.
I'm not laughing at what he talking about with the school. I'm just laughing at him when he said.
I'm just saying it is sad, bro. And y'all donate money, but it's going to these programs, which is fine. But can you spread the love to where it's need to be?
Yeah, I feel you on that though. That's why students. When are we gonna see them do
the IT building at Alcorn is piss poor. Like, for real. Like, we have the money. Like, the equipment we used when I was graduating, using the ag building.
Right.
It is from the 1980s.
A lot of stuff is old. There's a lot of old things.
I'm not trying to expose my HBCU, but it's just sad. Lord knows at Valley and these other schools dealing with the same problems. And the celebrities is giving to the tier 1 schools, you know what I'm saying? All this love.
Always Howard, Jackson State, and FAMU, those.
Clark Atlanta.
Yeah, Clark Atlanta.
Morehouse, Spelman. It's always them.
Always the easiest
don't get me wrong.
school.
Don't get me wrong. They probably need to.
No, I'm saying, I've heard some.
But they're not hurting and they're not managing the money. Yeah. They're not managing what they're getting.
From the outside looking at it, don't look like they don't need it like that.
From the outside looking in, they keep their money to themselves and building the faculty and staff money up because they're not doing that to these campuses. No. We did road trip to some of these schools. I'm like, where all this money going to? It still look the same.
Right.
But they use their money to build the big artists for their homecomings and stuff. Yeah, but they need to go on other stuff. They not spending the money. That's piss poor on the faculty and staff members, whoever control the money.
Right.
But all I gotta say is I don't know how many celebrities in this world that supports HBCUs. It is, I don't know how, it's a large amount of HBCUs around the South and the eastern borders of states, of schools. Can you please, out the kindness of your heart, donate to some other schools? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like it'd be bigger if they start donating to some of these other schools.
We got schools like Pine Bluff, Texas Southern. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Megan Stallion over here doing what she doing, but she ain't donating to Texas Southern. This is be real. If she graduated from there.
We ain't heard nothing about it, though.
We ain't heard her donate nothing. Come on now. It's celebrities. It's other people that can match what Diddy done.
Right.
Little Wayne, get back to Grambling. Get back to Xavier. Get back to Dillard.
I feel
Let's just be real. Birdman. Memphis, it's all these Memphis artists. Get back to Tennessee State and Fisk.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Just don't
match the same energy.
Your service to perform. You know,
match the same energy, man. It's a lot of schools, man. They deserve money. Savannah State. It's other HBCUs.
Do you one for doing you better. You know, they are there. You talking about donating money. Then sometimes how about give your services for, you know, the rate that they can afford for some of these HBCUs to show how deep down 10 toes you guys are for HBCUs.
They doing I was in the SGA.
Yeah.
Brave Fest. They want to charge an arm and a leg. No, we ain't got it.
Exactly.
No, we ain't got it.
Exactly.
They know we ain't got it. And they want to give us some like they in Miami concert money. No, we ain't having it. No, we're not fortunate.
Exactly the problem, and that's the problem, though.
But you all supposed to be, we giving back, but still getting right back because you want to charge us $80,000, 9 stacks for a day performance for 40 minutes. This is to say two of your hits.
And I ain't gonna lie,
2 of your hits.
I'm not gonna call a name out, but some guys coming in and perform 15 minutes.
Screwed us, and they won that guap. But hey, they giving back, huh? But they getting right back. They getting right back.
That's what I'm saying, though. And my thing is, when it comes to I think now that the HBCU, you know, that movement, it's gotten kind of the cool look now, because you know more people are kind of starting to be in it. And it's cool now. It's cool to help out the HBCU. But my thing is, let's really put some work in, not just with these
actually come down. Not just write a check out. Actually come down and talk to the students.
Some real support.
Take pictures. Give water out.
Speak loud and work.
Paint the facilities. Actually come instead of having your agents or somebody write you up a check saying you did it just cause. If P. Diddy say, I'm giving you $1 million, come down to Jackson and give on your lonesome. Come on your private jet to Jackson, Mississippi, and give you the money and spend time with the student facility, and see how it is and how bad it looks for yourself. Be like, I need to flip and get $1 million too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
At least get some other people to
hold these celebrities accountable.
Right, like let's not just make one to 3 different HBCUs look better or start becoming more national. Let's get a more president of these HBCUs. There are a lot of HBCUs in the nation, more than just 3 to 5 that comes to mind to most people.
The name brands. It's more than name brand HBCUs.
Like, let's put in some work.
And then alumni say we hating. We not hating. We glad that y'all do it. Y'all getting this attention.
Said that at the end of the day, because
I'm glad Jackson State represent Mississippi as a whole. As everything they doing, I'm glad they doing it as a whole. They making Mississippi.
We stay in the city.
We from Jackson.
We stay in the capital.
Yes, they making Mississippi a great name, a great ambassador. Jackson State is making the whole state a great ambassador and making people want to come to Jackson. Because it was a point in time nobody wanted to come to Jackson.
Yeah,
nobody.
I ain't gonna lie, you could really make it that argument that if it wasn't Jackson State, wasn't doing good.
If it wasn't for Jackson State, these celebrities wouldn't even know about Jackson State. Wouldn't even come down here. Let's just be real.
People wouldn't even want to come to Jackson.
Mississippi been a laughing stock for so long, and this is a major accomplishment for the whole state of Mississippi with what Jackson State doing. And I'm happy about the state that I'm born and raised at, the city I'm born and raised at, we getting this good recognition. Because it was a point in time that nobody wouldn't even want to touch about Mississippi. People was talking about we fat, we obesity, we poor. Now they come to see, Mississippi really, they get down and have a good time.
Right.
I'm commending what Deion is doing, Mo Williams doing, everybody doing at Jackson State. Because if it wasn't for him, we'd still be a laughing stock.
Yeah, no. And we got a long way to go.
We still got a long way to go. They just build bridges for the whole South SWAC, MEAC, NAIA, JUCO, everything.
Yeah, we still got a long way to go, but at the end of the day, I think that
it's the stepping stones. We gonna get it. Everybody else gonna get their love too.
Let's start. We need to get to the point now that it's time to start holding people accountable. All right, the movement is set, but let's start holding these people accountable when it comes to this HBCU movement. Don't be just like, as they say, t-shirt wearers. Don't just be, just be a t-shirt wearer. Be really about that action and be 10 toes when it comes to what you stand on, and show that you really 10 toes down with what we got going on down here when it comes to HBCUs. Like we keep saying, brand names, they come to mind. Let's do it bigger than that. Make sure that you really are invested, not just with the commercial.
And it's not just celebrities. The alumni need to give back too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, with this, the only thing I'll say about the alumni is we don't really know exactly what the alumni are doing. and I'm not gonna call out alumni because we don't know what all they're doing. They find a way to do things behind the scenes, regardless if it's donation or even their services. I feel like most HBCU alumni, their alumni are 10 toes because we know at the end of the day, Alcorn, their alumni still is pretty. They 10 toes.
They strong. Yeah, we got strong base.
They 10 toes. And I'm pretty sure that goes for just by any other HBCU. Now, we'll say Jackson State, man, they are 10 toes, but now they look a little more 10 toes now that, everything rocking.
Jackson State went from tier 2 to tier 1.
Right. Now they starting to look like they really rocking with
They are upper echelon of HBCUs. They up there.
They up there now. No.
So
Jackson State now has they're a national attention wise.
They are up there with the Howards, the peer reviews.
When you speak of an HBCU, one of the first schools you'll probably say now is Jackson State University. And not gonna lie, that's still huge. That's
huge. That's huge for the state of Mississippi as a whole.
No, it's crazy.
Like I said, at one point, Mississippi wasn't even thought of.
Right, no, not at all.
And nothing.
Right. But we should be back next Monday. No problems.
Shout out to Ole Miss, man. World Series champs. The championship stage in Mississippi 2 years in a row, man. Shout out to Pearl River. They the JUCO, the national JUCO baseball champions too, as well. Mississippi. We on the come up, man.
Mississippi is like that now. Shout out to the little bro, man. Happy birthday.
Shout out to
23 Jordan year.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Colorado Avalanche being the Stanley Cup champions of NHL. I know y'all don't watch hockey, but I do.
And shout out to Real Spill Phil, man, joining us today.
Hey, special guest by Real Spill, man.
And appreciate your pops. We'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir.
Out of here.
Advertise on WeBelieve.global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hey, great day, everybody. Welcome to the buffet with Tony Yarber. Listen, I am super excited about today's show. Super excited about this episode. We are going to have some real interesting conversations this afternoon. So go on and share. Let everybody know that the buffet is live. The table is spread. We've got the hottest Friday wine down that you're going to find anywhere as it relates to your local, state, and federal politics, whether we're talking about current events. Today we're talking all things current events, and we're particularly talking around crime in Jackson, specifically about the Crime Summit that happened yesterday. One of my homeboys called it the Crime Clown Show. And I kind of tend to agree with him. We're going to talk Capitol Police. We're also going to talk about this announcement that the mayor made yesterday about almost $800 million that's coming to the city. That's been increased from what we were talking about, $600 million. And we're going to get into some of the minutiae of those things once we dive in. I need you right now to go on and share. And go on and like, go on and press those stars, and go on and let folks know that the buffet is live. Look, I'm inviting you to participate today, be a part of what we're doing, be a part of the show. You can do that via your comments. We'll be paying attention and we'll be watching that. So looking forward to your participation today and expecting to have a real good time. Thank you, Miss Grayson. I see the stars. What's going on, Miss Lewis? Good to see you. Y'all make sure y'all press that share button. I'm ready to get started. I came in and on my way in here, I'd been paying attention because I'm uniquely interested in what's happening in D.C. right now at the Capitol as they are trying to elect a speaker. And look, I like politics just like everybody else. I've been enjoying seeing Republicans do exactly what we always knew that they would do if they got control, and that is make a mess, make an absolute mess. What blows my mind, here's what blows my mind. What blows my mind is that folk right here in the state of Mississippi, where the state legislature, the supermajority are Republicans, all right? And I won't even run through all of the statistics. I'm not going to even run down all of the things that are wrong in the state of Mississippi, but Republican leadership. And so what's happening in D.C., I'm no more surprised about it than anybody else. I expected it, and I expect a whole lot more of it. So y'all buckle in, grab your popcorn. It's gonna be crazy in D.C. over the next, I don't know how long, 2 years maybe. But buckle in for the ride. It's gonna be real interesting. Yesterday, shifting gears. Yesterday, there was I guess a crime panel summit discussion or some that it appeared that the mayor hosted, Mayor Lumumba hosted. I don't know. I saw him in the center. I'm just assuming. There was a representative from the U.S. Marshals there. The chief of Jackson Police was there. I saw our very fine High Sheriff, Tyree Jones was there, and some other folks sitting around the table that represented community members, and the mayor's sister, Miss Rukia, was there. I think I saw maybe Deputy Chief Hearns around the table, and I'm I don't normally dive into stuff, particularly when it comes to actual figureheads, and I try to avoid that. I try to avoid any direct criticism unless I got to do it. But I just want to be honest that I don't know what I watched yesterday. I have no idea what I was watching. Initially, when I tuned in and I heard the young man from the U.S. Marshals giving his spiel, initially I'm under the assumption that we're here to hear about some partnership. You got all these partners around the table, or potential partners, opportunities for partnership, and that's what I'm expecting. And that thing went left. I don't know what happened in the midst of all of that. I don't know how old ladies who can't sit on their porches got lost. I don't know how a 15-year-old girl who had just been shot was the remnants of her was still likely on Meadow Lane out in South Jackson, and it just seemed as though the people in the room were tone deaf. It was as if, and don't get me wrong, I understand that there is a level of policing that has to be done from a real place of trust, and I get that. You're talking to a guy whose administration reduced violent crime by 15%, so I get that. What I don't think I was understanding yesterday was it almost looked like there was this
attack on policing, and I'm not talking about particular people. I'm talking about the tone. Yeah, Bishop, that's what I got, man. I got that. That's what I thought. It was almost like the people were tone deaf in the room, and I'm sitting at home, still living in South Jackson. Children still live around the corner from Meadow Lane, and I'm getting frustrated as I don't know what, because at some point I don't even know that the people in the room were talking about protecting and serving the community anymore. I don't know what it turned to. Let me tell you the first thing that let me know. Yeah, Bishop, absolutely. The people in the room had their hearing aids turned down. When I first turned the TV on rather, or the laptop, whatever I was on, and I'm watching, and I immediately sat up because, I sat up because I saw Mayor Lamont was sitting next to a federal official. I was like, oh, it's a federal law enforcement official. Let me be clear, a federal law enforcement official. And I sat up, I was like, okay, this is about to be interesting, because that ain't typically what we see. We don't really see the mayor dealing with the feds like that. So I sat up, and I was really trying to take it seriously, but I could not get over the fact that all of the people in the room who represent these agencies, who represent opportunities for partnership, had I been in the room, I would have felt a little uncomfortable about even being there. And here's why. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. First of all, I believe that the people that should have been in the room were people that represent Capitol Police. Let me just say that. All right. The people who should have been in the room for what I heard happening in the room should have been Capitol Police. I turned my TV on to understand or to listen or to find out about some partnership, okay? A partnership that was gonna stop 15-year-old girls from getting killed in the doggone street. I thought I was turning to it to understand or to learn or to hear or to find out about some partnership that was going to provide wraparound services that would not only help to suppress crime, but also go into communities, figure out, try to understand what are the contributing factors, and then apply the necessary resources in those areas to do it. We got to learn how to walk and chew gum at the same time. You got me? We got to learn how to provide support where that support is necessary, and then we've got to not mind providing the rod in cases where the rod should not be spared. And I think we can do both of those. I ain't hear that yesterday. I didn't hear that yesterday. What I really heard was more of the same. I heard more of the same. I heard we're gonna have 100 and something murders again this year. What I heard was there is no real plan in place. I ain't hear nothing from the chief. I heard nothing from the chief. Nothing. I heard nothing from the chief. Bishop says 2 members of my church saw the shooting before coming to church Wednesday. Yeah, man, and that's the traumatic those are the traumatic kinds of things that folk are dealing with, and we're walking around here spending money on stuff that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Look, and I get it. I'm saying that Capitol Police should have been in the room yesterday, and here's why I'm gonna tell you why I believe Capitol Police should have been in the room. Now, look, the legislation that put Capitol Police in place, the legislation, Kim, you crazy, you about right. The legislation that was put in place, or that put Capitol Police in place, is the Capitol Complex legislation. All right, so it was more than one piece. There's also infrastructure improvements that's happening. There's a whole infrastructure master plan. 2 projects have already gotten underway and finished. So it's not just policing, law enforcement, it's also infrastructure improvements as well. Well, on this very show, back in the summertime, Tony Yarber was asking, where is the memorandum of understanding that the Jackson Police Department and the Capitol Police are supposed to have in place per the legislation? Well, there were a few articles done here and there where the chief of the Capitol Police said exactly the right things, all of the right stuff. Well, we met with, you know, the leadership in Jackson, and we're looking forward to a relationship. He said all the right things. Over in Jackson, they said all the right things. And I look, now, if there is anybody out here who can say, nah, Tony, you wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, please call 1-800-492-5186. I want you to correct me. I want to be wrong, but I don't believe I am, because I have looked. And there is still no mention of a memorandum of understanding in place. Why is that important, Tony, to this entire conversation about all of the stuff that's happening with Capitol Police, about all of the stuff that's going on with Capitol Police? Why is that important? That is important because the MOU does all of the things that everybody's complaining about. This whole idea of jurisdiction, this whole idea of, if I call from downtown, who's going to respond, JPD or Capitol Police? If you don't have the memorandum of understanding in place, how in the world do you expect for there to be some kind of harmonious policing in the Capitol complex? Now, look, I'm with you when you're right. I'm with you when you're right. But when I know that there's some other stuff, then I'm gonna call it out. Bishop says, but TY, what you say? But TY, should the Capitol Police be trolling outside of the Capitol and government buildings? Yes, Bishop. Yes, there is an area based on the Capitol complex legislation that encompasses a large swath of the central part of the city of Jackson. Let me tell you how we got there. I'm glad you asked me. We have always begged the state of Mississippi for payment in lieu of taxes. When I became mayor, I knew that that was something that would not happen. It would not be realized because the people down there did not trust the city of Jackson for various reasons. So we sat down, we started thinking about a plan. We considered a what we called the Capitol complex. We called the former mayor, Kane Ditto, because he had a similar proposal. We met our people, hashed that thing out, worked with the Speaker of the House, worked with the Lieutenant Governor, and we got it passed. All right, we got it passed. Now, the reason we got it passed is because the legislation provided for a pot of money to be invested in that was earmarked for infrastructure improvement and for law enforcement for Jackson. It was how the state was going to take care of, because what we did was we carved it out to include all of the state buildings. So whether we're talking about the state capitol, whether we're talking about DHS, the Capitol Police would have the shared jurisdiction with the city of Jackson in patrolling those areas. Or you could take the resources that are the city of Jackson, JPD, and move those out to areas where little kids are getting shot. And Capitol Police could patrol this area and we could partner. But there's no MOU in place. There's no MOU in place. And let me tell you what I believe. Again, if I'm wrong, please call now. Please call 1-800-492-5186. Or you can jump under here. I need everybody, if you're on and you hadn't done this yet, please go share. Hey, y'all got to tell me in the back when it's time to go to commercial, because I don't know. I got 2 more minutes. All right, good. Let me gin in this last 2 more minutes before we go to break. Now, I want to be very clear, because don't nobody need to call me or text me or message me with no foolishness about taking up for Capitol Police. I don't know nothing about Capitol Police. I don't even know who Bo Luckett is. Luckett. I don't even know how to say his name. I don't know nobody who work for Capitol Police. But what I am saying is that it's a dead cat on the line. Because if y'all are serious about developing trust, and this goes for the city of Jackson too. If you're serious about creating trust, then y'all would have worked this MOU out already. But y'all playing games. You're playing games, and I get it. I understand. I heard you loud and clear yesterday at your summit. I heard you. But you got to be honest with folk. You got to say that there is something that is in place that we have not complied with. We have not sat down and said, here's how we're going to handle these calls. Here's how we're going to handle chases. Here's how we're going to handle arrests. Here's how we're going to police in this Capitol Police District. Here's how we're going to do that. And then we're going to turn around and tell the people that. We're going to be transparent and let folks know what we're doing, but y'all playing games with us. Who is y'all? Whoever should be organizing and seeing the implementation of the doggone MOU. Stop playing with folks. Stop playing with people's emotions and stop playing with people's trauma. Stop it. Yesterday, Capitol Police should have been in that doggone meeting, and there should have been some conversation about that MOU. There should have been some conversations about how do we see policing in the doggone city of Jackson with partnership with the federal government, with the sheriff, the high sheriff, Tyree Jones, Chief Davis, and Bo Luckett, whatever his name is. No disrespect. All right? So, I look, it frustrates me, okay? It frustrates me to see people playing politics, playing games. When just be honest, man. Just be honest. Just be honest, because people are dying. People are scared, all right? Because we're not going to be able to continue to guilt people, good people, who are leaving this city, because the people who are asking to take care of those things are playing with us. And that's what's going on. That's all it is to it. When Pastor Pickett wouldn't be stressed out every day, all day, if somebody would sit down with him and say to him, look, this is why this is going on, man, because there is no MOU in place that applies accountability to nobody. So everybody's able now to do you like this. Everybody can play with you because there's no MOU in place that calls for real accountability. And I'm sick of it. Yeah, I'm sick of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, look. I don't know how much time I got left, but we're going to run to this commercial. Don't you go anywhere. We're going to wrap up this conversation on the other side of the break, and then we're going to dive in some more about this $800 million that's getting ready to hit the city, but not so much. Blessings on you. See you on the other side of the break.
Do you have something to say? Do you want your voice heard? Join the We Believe Global lineup. Be the star of your own show. For more info, call 800-492-5186, option number 1, or visit online at webelieve.global.
Yeah, and we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the buffet. My name is Tony Yarber, and you have found yourself in the midst of a real good time. We ain't here for a long time on Friday. It's the tightest, hottest, fastest Friday wind down that you'll find anywhere in the metro, where we're giving you all the best information concerning local, state, and national politics, as well as touching some current events when we can. Right now, we are knee deep in having a conversation about what's happening with Capitol Police. Chris Williams says, so is it the mayor or the city council responsibility for this conversation? Well, I don't know. I don't know whose responsibility it is directly, but let me tell you how I would handle it. If it was me, the first thing that I would do is I would send my chief to talk to their chief to begin the initial conversations about what that should, could, and ought to look like. I would task also the attorney who represents the police department to also work in tandem with whatever legal representation that they have at the Capitol, so that we could put together an MOU to then be presented to the city council. The city council would then review that MOU, have an opportunity through representative government to make decisions on behalf of the people as it relates to that MOU. But you got to have those things in place, because those are the things that put the guardrails there. How can we honestly, legitimately, genuinely have a real conversation about what Capitol Police are or are not doing, and we ain't even got a doggone MOU in place? It's crazy. It is as crazy as the doggone 1% sales tax commission spending money without a master plan being in place. I have no idea what's going on around here. Like, I'm literally living in the doggone Twilight Zone in the city of Jackson. I have no idea what's going on. I feel like Tina Turner in the beginning of the movie. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship. Abusive relationship. Like I wanna defend, I wanna, I wanna be able to do that, but I can't, cause we ain't got our stuff together. We ain't got our stuff together. What's going on, brother Malcolm Johnson? Miss Tracy, what's happening? Tommy, what's good, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. I just look. This is how I live my life, okay? I live my life, I believe that things can be both and. You can be a good person and do dumb stuff. Yeah, that is super duper possible. You can be a great daddy and a terrible husband, all in the same house. That is possible. You can also be a police department, whether it's JPD, the sheriff department, or whoever. You can be a great agency. You can have all of your accreditation. Y'all can do all of the training and all of that stuff. What's going on, bro, Tim? You can do all of that stuff and still have some things that you need to have dealt with, but you can only deal with it through structure. And in this case, that MOU is that structure. Let me get out of that. I wanted to deal with it because yesterday, that crime summit, sit down, talk, whatever it was real insulting to people that know better. All right? It was real insulting to people who genuinely want to live in a crime-free, in a safe city. Okay? Yep. I was insulted. Sure was. I was insulted. Now, on yesterday morning, the mayor had a big announcement. And he made this announcement. I look, today in 2023, everybody, it's all about grace and accountability. And I don't want y'all to be gaslit in 2023. There was an announcement yesterday that instead of the $600 million, now the city was going to be getting right at $800 million for the water crisis. Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. In this bill that was voted on and passed in the Omni bill, this bill had $600 million. They've tacked on another $100 and something million. And the last time we were here, we talked about opportunities if that money was to hit the streets. Well, what I failed to tell you was that the city now has a third-party administrator. That money is going to flow through that third-party administrator, not through the city of Jackson. The mayor made his announcement, but he ain't had nothing to do with that. He ain't lobbied nobody. He ain't here write no bills. He ain't had nothing to do with that. Nothing. He ain't had nothing to do with that. That wasn't a win. Okay? That wasn't a win. That's a bailout. A bailout ain't a win. All right? A win would have been had they moved sooner, like we was talking about last summer. Had the council and the mayor and all them moved sooner to opportunity for privatization. The same thing could have happened without federal interventions, without this whole issue with the consent decree, and without more lawsuits being filed. I said it because I said we don't have the capacity to do this. We don't have the expertise in place to do this. Let's get a third-party administrator. But see, in Jackson, privatization is a bad word. And I get it. I understand. But I've been in this game long enough. I know who it's a bad word too. Okay? But guess what we are now? Privatized. With no say-so. Nothing. No say-so. $800 million is getting ready to come to Jackson. And I am telling you right now, it ain't nailed chocolate drop that look like me and you. That look like us. When they get done with all of it, we may have 10%. We may stretch. We may. But because it's the state, and the state has a history of awarding less than 1% to black folks and minorities and women, then I wouldn't bank on it. But here we are. Here we are. And it's sad. It's sad commentary. You are absolutely right, Angela Grayson. We're in a leadership crisis. We're in a leadership crisis. When I looked at that panel yesterday, the only person that I trusted was the high sheriff. I was looking at him the whole time. I was waiting on him to, man, say something. Can you please? But after a while, the high sheriff wasn't even saying nothing, and I got it. I was like, you know what? I get it, because I'm looking at him, and he looked like he would rather be somewhere in South Jackson body slamming somebody who just broke in somebody's house. Now I'm being funny, and those of you who know, you know, all right? Because that did happen when he was on SWAT. Now, when there is some serious consideration of where we are, then we'll get serious about how we start picking leadership. We'll get serious about what we demand out of them. And we're going to get serious about asking the right people the right kinds of questions. At this money that's coming has nothing to do with the mayor. You need to thank Benny Thompson. You need to thank the Republican Wicker. You need to thank the Republican Cindy Hyde Smith. Those three. That's who you need to thank. They made that happen. They worked that out. Yeah, I know they end up turning around. Yeah, I get all that. But they did that. Okay? So that wasn't a win. To be honest with you, it's really an indictment on your leadership when you got to be bailed out. I said what I said. And I will continue to do that right here at the buffet with Tony Yarber every Friday, 3 o'clock. Looking to see you here, same time, same place. God bless you. Call me if you want to sponsor.
injustice. Turn me around, I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom land. Ain't gonna let discrimination turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Gonna let discrimination turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up the freedom land. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around. Gonna keep on walking, keep on talking.
And welcome and good evening. Welcome to We Believe Digital Studios, broadcasting live from downtown Jackson, Mississippi, at the heart of the Deep South. And here tonight for the Sizzling in Mississippi program, Black Woman and White Man at the Crossroads. And right alongside, how are you doing, Mahati?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Today was a Tuesday, wasn't it?
It was a Tuesday.
Well, we're happy you're joining us. We've got some topics lined up for tonight. We noticed the viewership is elevating over time, and obviously we're really happy about that. So we've got some topics for tonight. We want to remind you the call-in number is 1-800-492-5186, or you can always join us in the chat. Last night we had 70-some people in the chat. We're very grateful for that. We really want to create a community. We really want engagement with our viewers, and because your voice is important, we need to, there's so many, pressures, dynamics going on in this world today, right, where people's voices get iced out. And we're not about that. We want to hear what you have to say. We might not be able to comment on every single item in the chat, but we'll do our best to keep the show moving and make sure that your voice is heard. You can come here, share your thoughts. We're trying to talk about relevant issues and so forth, and glad that you are joining us. So, and a quiz. I got a quiz. Got a quiz. So the quiz for tonight, and the reward is many snaps for whoever answers this, but in this month, in the month of December, in 1884, if you can imagine that, an African-American inventor, patented the first telephone transmitter. We hear so many people want to knock or belittle or slight in some way the achievements, the advancements of African-Americans, but, if that's what you're about, you came to the wrong show, because that isn't the way it works. So what was that man's name? Patented the first telephone transmitter in 1884. Tell us his name. You're going to get the snaps. And Mahati, we always, trying to remind people, we want you to like the show. We want you to subscribe to the show so that you get your notifications, so you know when we're running, when we're not running. We want you to share with your friends and donate if possible.
Absolutely.
And that's what keep it going. So you want to kick us off tonight?